Broadcasting from their world headquarters in Texas, it's the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show. The show that discusses arcade repair, restoration, news, and more. Now, here are your hosts, Tim and Jonathan.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 96 of the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show for February 2025. My name is Jonathan Leung. I'm the producer, director, and editor here at the Arcade Repair Tips video series. And joining me today, as always, is Mr. Arcade Repair Tips himself, Tim Peterson. Tim, how you doing?
I'm good. You know, a lot of people said January felt like it had 97 days in it.
Yes.
But to me, it kind of flew by. It doesn't seem like it's been that long ago since we've done a live show. But then again, it does. A lot of stuff's happened. So we'll get to some more of that stuff later. But I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing good. So January is always a busy month for us because my son's birthday is at the very end of the month, like literally on the 31st. And so if you guys remember, if you go back to the live show, we had to record one. We had to do a not so live show because he was scheduled to be born.
That's right.
So we had to do that. So we had a big celebration and everything like that, which was really great. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the after show if you guys want to hear more about that. But it did seem like maybe a little bit longer month. We did have 5 weeks in between the live shows instead of 4 like we normally do. It's a 5-week divide between the two. But hopefully you guys are ready for some more arcade repair questions and answers as long as we can get them all out, Tim, right? So, but anyway, we hope that you guys are doing good tonight, and we do already see some people in the live chat over here, Tim, so let me go ahead and address that. We got Jumping General. He says, hello, everyone. We got The Real Hammer Billy Lee that says, hey, hey. We got Arcade Obsessed says, the best arcade repair tips in town, and I'm all the way over the pond in Melbourne, Australia. Keep up the good work, guys. Well, thank you, and we're glad that you're here tonight, Arcade Obsessed, and thanks for joining us for sure. Now, remember, if you're watching live, or even if you're watching after the fact, you can join into the show. So if you're watching it live, of course, you can interact with us in the live chat. If you're watching this after the fact, though, don't forget you can leave comments down below, and we tend to get to those comments on the next live show. So, you may not be able to watch us live. That's okay. You can still leave your comments down in the comment section of this video. So, and then we have the regular show is here as well. It says, hey guys, Tim. So, thank you guys all for being here, and we look forward to hearing more from you as the show continues. So, Tim, we got a nice lineup of questions for this evening. Lots of stuff going on. So, before we get into too much, how are you doing? How are things going on your side of the pond? If that's a pond.
It's good, yeah. It's a pretty big pond, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows what the name of it is this week, right? We've had some crazy times lately, just busy family times. I got my cell phone on and the ringer turned up, so if I get a call, it could be important or it could be spam. We'll see. My daughter is due any day now with my first grandbaby, so I'm really looking forward to that. So hopefully before the next live show, I will at least have some stories to tell about my first adventure as a pop. So thanks everybody for coming, for being here. Just got back from Atlanta. Was there for a week. Had a really good time at Dave & Buster's while I was there. A very good visit. That's about the only arcade time that I really had. Lots of other stuff going on, but it was a good trip. I had a good time.
Yeah, and you sent over those pictures, and I totally forgot to add those to the outline.
That's okay.
I apologize. Like, he sent some pictures, and
we'll do it some other time.
I was about to say, in all of the games that you sent over, a lot of them I'd seen before, but I did see a Yahtzee. I feel like that was kind of new.
I've not seen a Yahtzee before. I tried to take pictures of something I thought was just new or different.
Yeah, I do like that dodgeball game, and I think we talked about that in the past. The dodgeball redemption game where you have to hit the targets, super fun. So you did get a little game time in, it looks like.
Yeah, it was a long story, but I got my free game card with my meal. That $10 did not last very long.
No, it usually doesn't.
I was like, wow, that was pretty fast. But I see why they encourage you to buy more and get a lot more points and stuff like that. So you can blow through some really quick.
For sure. So I'm glad to hear that, Tim. Sounds like everything was good this month for you. And, of course, Tim, it's February now, so this is kind of like a Valentine's Day episode, in a way.
Certainly.
Hopefully you've already got something planned or gift spot or whatever for your significant other. So if not, this is your warning up front. Right. You probably need to get those pretty soon. Get
those gift cards real quick.
That's
get those flowers.
Exactly.
If you hadn't ordered your flowers by now, you might want to talk about how you're going to pick them up, right?
Exactly. So, for sure. Let me go back to the live chat real quick, Tim. We got Joe here. It says, on call, ready for already got 2 emergencies tonight. Y'all got to keep me entertained, he says. Nate's here. He says, just got back from Florida. Went to Arcade Monster place that looks great with some good machines. Awesome, guys. So it's always great to visit arcades when we travel, whether that's a Dave & Buster's or a local arcade, whatever the case may be. It's always a fun time anytime you can do that. Tim, I may talk about this here in a little bit. My kids are not currently here at Arcade Repair Tips headquarters, but they have a new crane place or claw machine place in our mall.
Just claw machine.
Just claw machines.
Yeah.
It's called Kawaii Claws with K's in both. Kawaii Claws. And so I took my kids there, and they can tell you more about the experience. Of course, they're the ones who really wanted to go, but it's just claw machines, Tim. It's all Japanese-style claw machines, and it's pretty fun. So maybe if they get here, when we get closer to the end of the show, they can share their experiences. Of course, I talked about last month a little bit about getting the Arcade 1-Up crane for Christmas. So they've had a lot of practice on claw machines recently.
I'm going to say, they should be getting good.
And we always keep that thing on scam mode, Tim, because I want to make sure you can't win every time. Okay?
Right.
If you win every time, man, that's not a good claw machine, right? We need to be realistic.
Right.
So anyway. Well, Tim, maybe that's enough catching up and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about more of that kind of stuff near the end of the show or maybe in the after show. But let us move on with our questions for this month, Tim. And we've got several here. The first one, though, is very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and put it up here. This first question is from Mike. And Mike writes in and says, we have a 60-in-1 cocktail Pac-Man machine. We replaced the power supply and the board. Now sometimes it loads, works for a few minutes, and we are able to play it. Other times it just cuts off during the initialization and reboots, or just shows a black screen and doesn't boot up at all. I do not have the negative 5 volts DC hooked up, and I'm not sure if that matters or if this would cause the issues. Any ideas on best fix? Thanks, Mike. Any ideas on maybe good ideas for a fix or something?
Okay.
Best fix, whatever. So there is Mike's question, Tim. We have a 60-in-1 cocktail Pac-Man machine. Now, this could be one that was either converted or built. He doesn't really get into the details of that. But we do know it has a 60-in-1 in it, and sometimes it plays. And sometimes it gets stuck on the initialization screen, which if you have a 60-in-1 or if you've seen one before, you've probably seen it count up, right, to 60.
Right.
So it gets stuck there, or it just shows a black screen and doesn't boot it up at all.
Yeah.
So with what Mike said here, what are some things that Mike can do in order to get his game back up and running?
Well, normally anytime a game is rebooting, we always think about the power supply. But in this case, it's a brand new board and a brand new power supply. So if he's checked his voltage and it's dialed in and good on his power supply, it's not uncommon. These boards, as we've talked about before, are made in mass productions and stuff, and sometimes you'll just get a bad board. That's where I would lean with this one. It probably is a bad board, but we do need to check the voltage and make sure. Now, he asked, should the negative 5 be hooked up? It shouldn't need it. It shouldn't be the problem at all, unless for some reason there's something jumpered to it or something, or touching. Sometimes when you hook up to those power supplies, you'll get a random one strand kind of going off the side or something. If that ever touches, you'll get some weird issues like that. So make sure your wiring is pretty clean and stuff. But more than likely, and you could try to tweak that power supply up just a little bit. But if that doesn't fix it, it probably is a board issue. At least that's where I'm leaning, just on the information that he gave us.
Now, Tim, you were right in saying that it was a new power supply, but the thing we have to remember, and even Bill Holland at Holland Computers has told us this in the past, Tim, you need to test that thing before you hook it up.
Right.
And so if you'll notice in the videos where we put together the cocktail tables, Tim, you'll notice what do we do before we hook up the power supply?
We always
test
everything. Yeah.
Right, so we make sure it's dialed in beforehand. So just because you have a new power supply doesn't necessarily mean it's actually putting out plus 5 volts DC on the 5 volts line. It may be a little low. So make sure that even on a new power supply, that you know that the voltage coming out of it is correct before you hook it up.
Yeah, some of those are really touchy.
Yep.
And think about just getting in shipping and bouncing around and all these trucks and everything. And so it could easily be off just a hair. But definitely a good thing to check first.
Sounds good. So, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and throw up our slide here about the answer. And it says, Mike, considering that both the power supply and the game board are new, this does sound like a power supply voltage needs to be adjusted maybe a bit. Use a multimeter to make sure that the voltage is getting to the board, especially on the plus 5 volts DC line. Okay, you want to make sure that's correct. You might even turn it up to 5.05 just to make sure, and it may help the saying issue as well. And actually, Tim, Nate pretty much nailed it here. He says meter power to get 5.05 on the 5, and the negative 5 is not used on the 60-in-1. Nate said exactly what we're saying here. Most 60-in-1 boards that we've seen do not require the negative 5 volts volts DC to be hooked up. If the resetting continues and you have ensured that the voltage is correct, it could be a bad 16-in-1 board, like Tim mentioned, which happens from time to time. Again, guys, like we talked about, these 16-in-1 boards are not manufactured to the highest standard of quality. Okay, they are basically cranked out as cheaply as possible. You'll notice that they're pretty cheap when you go to buy them. So you can get a bad board. It's very common. So if you're sure that the voltage is correct, you're still getting resetting issues, may want to replace the board or contact whoever you bought the board from. They may have some sort of warranty on it. Tim, do you have anything else here for Mike before we
No, I don't think so. But Mike, be sure and email us back with with what your fix was, or if you had any additional questions.
Sounds good. So Mike hopefully answers your question, and good luck getting that 16-in-1 Pac-Man cocktail table back up and running all the time instead of having the intermittent failures like you're having now. So Nate says, do 16-in-1s have test points? Most of the time, he says, I meter to a socketed chip to ensure I get 5.05 on the board, but the 16-in-1 doesn't have a socketed chip. Where would you probe on the 16-in-1? So you can, if you know the pinouts of the individual surface-mounted pins, you can do it there. You could also follow the 5 volts line on the board, which I've never really done because, I mean, 16-in-1s are so cheap, it's just easier to replace them in most cases. But you could just follow that 5 volts DC line on the board, check the traces, see where it goes, see what pin it's going to on the part, check the 5 volts there, follow that through, check the 5 volts again. So, I mean, that could be it. Or if you know the pinouts of the surface-mounted chips, you could check them there as well.
Yeah, what I've done in the past is on your fingerboard where it plugs in, you still have a tiny bit of finger, if you want to say it that way, or showing, and sometimes I'll get right above that pin and try it right there at my harness.
Right. And you could always do a continuity check on the board as well, Tim. So what you could do is place, with the board unhooked even,
right,
you could place one of your probes on the 5 volts plus 5 volts DC line and then just touch pins around the board to see where that 5 volts is going, to see if you get continuity, right?
Right.
So you should get continuity to at least the next pin in the line. So like I said, if it was going to a surface-mounted chip, you should be able to find that pretty easily with just a continuity check. Anything past that, you'd probably need power for, obviously, because the chips a lot of times won't run without power. So, but yeah, so I mean, you could do that if you wanted to. Again, 16-in-1 boards are cheap. Now, I'm saying that, Tim, we have these tariffs coming in, and I think they're going to start applying those tariffs to the small packages, which before they haven't been doing. And so these 16-in-1 boards may get more expensive. I don't know exactly how much. But, Tim, I just don't see 16-in-1 boards getting past about $50. Yeah. I guess $50 or $60. I mean, even with the tariffs, they're still going to be relatively cheap. So, and again, like the people that we buy from, Tim, if you buy from Amazon or places like that, a lot of times if it has a warranty, you can contact your supplier and they'll swap them out for you. So, I mean, it's usually not a problem with us. And like I said, especially, he says it was brand new. He said the game board's brand new. If it's brand new and you're having problems with it, send it back. Right. By all means. I mean, and make sure that you bought it from somebody reputable. You can buy them direct from China, and some of the Chinese sellers will do a refund, but golly, it's a lot of trouble to return something to China, obviously, Tim.
For sure.
So a lot of times they may just ship a new board to you, or they may give you just a straight up refund, depending. But yeah, so you could always, if you wanted to troubleshoot the 16-in-1 board, you could trace the 5 volts and everything. But again, cost really doesn't make it too much worth your time.
Of course, if you have another JAMA game, you could plug it up in it too and see if the problem follows the board.
Exactly. So that would tell you if it's a board issue or a power supply issue, of course, that way too. Okay, is that covered, Tim?
I think so.
Cool. So Mike hopefully answers your question again, and good luck getting that 16-in-1 up and running. Hopefully we can get it all solved. So, okay, Tim, this next question is from Kelly, and Kelly writes, I was recently given a Nintendo Red Tint versus baseball game that both screens work perfect. However, since we moved it home, one screen is great and the other rolls. Of course, Tim, when you move games, right?
Right.
How do I fix the rolling screen? Also, I was given a Galaxian, but the screen is dim. Would you know how to fix that? Any help would be greatly appreciated. So, Tim, we actually have 2 questions in here, and so we're going to have to charge Kelly double in order to answer both of them. Good thing, though, we don't charge anything, so you don't owe us anything. But, Tim, we have a Nintendo...
2 times 0, still 0,
exactly.
Right?
So, Tim, we have a Nintendo Red Tint here. It's a versus baseball, so it was working fine, and then we moved it, of course, and now we have a rolling screen on one.
Right.
Not on both. And then the other one was a Centipede with just a dim screen. So let's take both of those. Was it a Centipede? No, Galaxian, excuse me. Galaxian with a dim screen. So let's take the Nintendo Red Tint first. Of course, for those of you guys who have not seen one, Nintendo Red Tints, they're cool looking kind of, what would you call it, pyramid style or
Yeah.
something like that. Triangular arcades that have 2 screens where you can play both sides, 2 players on each side a lot of times. So, Tim, we have a rolling screen. What can Kelly do here to fix the rolling screen?
Well, first, I love the keyword in there, given.
Yes, given.
Somebody gave them one, so that's
Right.
pretty cool to be given a Nintendo
And
Red.
we have another free game coming up, so it's always good to give free games.
I was going to say, it's in the title of the show tonight.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so obviously everything was working great, and it sounds like when they got home, it was
moved the
one
game.
of, yeah, we moved the game, whatever they did, it is having a little issue. But normally that's just a sync hold issue, and there are some adjustments on your monitor that you can go in and adjust the hold, maybe the horizontal, maybe the vertical hold, maybe the sync or something. But you can usually adjust those and try that. And we have some videos on adjusting an arcade monitor. And it could be the same thing with the dim on the dimness on the Galaxian. The first thing we're going to try to do is we're going to try to turn up or turn the black level or the contrast, those type of things that we're going to see if we can make it brighter. We've had a lot of luck sometimes just fiddling with monitor adjustments. But we also have had a lot of luck where no matter what you did, it didn't do much of any good at all. At that time, it could be something more serious. You also want to check the flyback and things like that, but it might need a cap kit or something. But we definitely have a good video on adjusting an arcade monitor that should help with both of these problems.
Well, hey, so 2 birds, 1 stone, right?
Right.
There you go. Easy enough.
I kind of feel like there could both be similar issues, and maybe they're just new and haven't really got brave enough. It's the first time you stick your hands up in there, it can be a little daunting, but you have to do it with the game on, right? So be careful. Watch our videos, though. They should help you a lot with
I was
that.
about to say, the Nintendo Red Tent 2, the way it opens is a little strange. You have to, like, unlatch it, right? And they kind of fold up like DeLorean doors, right?
Yes.
So, I believe. So in order to get to those adjustments, you may have to do that, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since we worked on a Red
A
Tent.
long time.
So.
I haven't even seen one in years.
We had
and
one at
years.
one time.
We did.
We did. It was nice. So, but anyway, let me go ahead and put this up here, Tim, so we can address Kelly's problem here. Oh, there we go. A rolling screen usually indicates a hold sync issue, like Tim mentioned. Try adjusting the horizontal and vertical hold adjustments first on the monitor chassis to see if you can get them dialed in. Then try the sync adjustments if the hold adjustments do not give you the desired result. Like Tim mentioned, we do have a video and post on adjusting an arcade monitor that you can look at for that. Monitor adjustments may help the dim screen on your Galaxian as well. Try turning up the brightness, contrast, and or black level adjustments on your monitor chassis. Be sure to try the brightness adjustment on the flyback as well. Sometimes we forget about that one.
Yes, for sure.
So make sure you do it on the flyback as well. And again, see our post on adjusting an arcade monitor for more info. I will throw another thing in here that I was just thinking about after doing this, Tim, is that we all know how dirt and grime will build up in arcade cabinets. You sometimes would be amazed how much brighter the screen will be if you just wipe down the monitor tube, right? Like just the front of it there. So if you take some Windex and just give it a good wipe down, sometimes that makes a world of difference. So, but adjustments are still a good way to go. But you may blow out your brightness because your monitor's got 7 layers of filth on it. So you gotta be careful with that. But yeah, so you may just try cleaning it as well on that Galaxian. Now on the rolling screen, again, that's more of an adjustment issue. But but I think, like Tim mentioned, monitor adjustments on both these guys. Tim, anything else for Kelly's questions here before we move on?
No, it's funny you said that. It seems like we were working on a Mario Brothers or something one time at the putt-putt place, and we were both trying to look and, hey, is it getting any brighter? We were both calling signals back, and nothing was making any difference. And then we were just looking at it, and we're like, man, that screen is really dirty. And literally, we took the bezel and everything off, and we wiped it. It was so bright and so pretty. It was like, I had no idea. I mean, you could tell, but the smoke plexi kind of hit a lot.
Yep.
Once we took that off, it was sure enough just dirt.
Yep.
And so be careful, but I'm glad you brought that up. I had not thought about that in a long time.
40 years of filth.
Yeah.
That's a lot of filth. Just saying.
Yeah.
So, especially if it's been a while since somebody's cleaned it. So, another thing to think about. But again, for the most part, though, probably more of an adjustment issue on both these Kellys. So, try your adjustments out. Let us know how it goes from there. And if you need additional help, please contact us. Tim, we got a question over in the live chat. It says, my original Mortal Kombat 1 had perfect colors when one day I turned it on, and it now has a green hue. Okay, so the fact that you're getting like a green hue could be a couple of things. It could mean that your green drive or your green cutoff maybe got adjusted too much, and so you may need to turn down your green drive and cutoff, which again is in our video on adjusting an arcade monitor. Now, it could also mean that you lost a color.
Right.
Okay, so if you lose like red, all of a sudden blue and green are very pronounced, right? Or if
Right.
you lose blue, all of a sudden green and red are very pronounced. And it could be that you lost a color. And so in that particular case, you may need to check the input wires on your monitor chassis to make sure those are coming from the board and making a good connection there. Or you may need to replace some drive transistors on your monitor chassis in order to drive that color. So those may be some things. So in this particular case, Mark, what we want to do is you want to check our video on adjusting an arcade monitor, which we just referenced in the previous question. And you also want to check out our post on, checking a monitor tube. Our post in our video on checking a monitor tube, which talks about missing colors, color drive transistors, all that kind of stuff. And so check that one out as well. That would help you out with other color issues. So Tim, Delusionals Arcade is here.
Very well said. Hey, Dale.
So he's here as well, so which is awesome. So Tim, are we caught up?
I think so.
We are caught up. So Tim, this next question is the title of the episode, Free Millipede with a Pixelated Screen.
Okay.
So without further ado, and Delusional has one more thing on Mark's question too. Gun could be shorted in the tube. Let's not think about that. That's an unpleasant thing to think about, but he's exactly right. If the gun is shorted in the tube, you got out of luck, right?
Right. Well, you can do a tube rejuvenation.
Yeah, tube rejuvenation, tube swap may fix it, but makes it a little bit tougher for sure. Yes, that is enough. That's like the worst case scenario, I would say. So hopefully, Mark, that's not the case in your case. So, and he said the pot may be broken or maxing out the color as well. And we've seen that before, where cracked solder joints on the adjustment pots can cause that as well. So, I mean,
or just from jacking with the pot, sometimes a leg or something will break.
And this brings up the point that Mike always told us. Touch up all the solder joints on your monitor chassis when you pull it out, period.
Right.
And then put it back in and see what it's doing. Because that fixes a lot of issues. You know, if you touch up the solder on those pots, you touch up the solder on the input wires, it may fix your problem. So, never know. Without further ado, Tim, let us get to this question from Trampus.
Okay.
Trampus. And he says, hello, I was gifted. Gifted again.
Man.
This Millipede cabinet from my neighbor. It seems to be in pretty good condition overall. My neighbor said that the screen would not turn on. After replacing the bad fuses, the screen came on, but shows pixelated lines on the screen. I am new to arcades, but have worked on some electronics before. Any idea where to start to get this running again? The screen will not change and no sound. PCB board looks clean overall and is getting power. Thank you for any help you can offer, Trampus. Now, Tim, he did send some pictures in. I do want to show those. So this is what he's getting on the screen. That far left picture is what we see. This is a frozen screen with just some pixelated lines in it, like he was mentioning. And then, Tim, the other pictures are just pictures of the cabinet with that screen. And Tim, I will say something. This cabinet looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So it looks really great for a Millipede that is
you need to,
what was it, 35 years old? So it looks
invite
really
that
nice.
neighbor over for a barbecue or something. A good neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. So whoever had this before you, Trampus, definitely took very good care of it. Kept it in a really nice place for the most part, from what we can tell by the cabinet. Artwork just looks fantastic on there. So Tim, let's get to Trampus's question though. Okay, so we're getting these pixelated lines across the screen. He's thinking it's the game PCB, but he's saying it looks clean. So what do you think's going on? What are some things that he can do in order to get his Millipede back up and running?
Well, the fact it's not playing blind,
right?
Which
it's
is
not.
And so he said that, right? He said there's not getting sound and stuff. Normally, if we're seeing that, we know we have a monitor issue. In this case, the monitor seems to be working, but we're not getting gameplay, which makes us want to do a couple things. Check the power. Always start at power. But it could be definitely a board issue. So you want to check your voltage. If it's good, then it's probably something on your board.
Correct. So, and Tim, with these Millipede boards, it could be the CPU chip.
Right.
A lot of times, when you have major failure like this, like game won't boot,
right?
It's usually something like that, like the 6502 CPU on there. They have the Pokey chips, Tim, which we're familiar with too. The little the big 40 pin chips that are on the board. There's two of those guys. You may want to check those as well. And Tim, there's some other things that you can check as well, but I want to throw the slide up here so we can talk about it real quick. So from your photos and description, it looks like your monitor is working. Good news. The pixelated vertical lines on the screen would seem to indicate a game board issue. With that said, we always recommend checking the power supply with a multimeter first to see if the game board is getting the proper voltage. If the voltage is good, then probably is a game board issue. Check the 6502 CPU and Pokey chips, okay? Make sure that those are operating properly. See our post and video on inspecting an arcade board as well. You can also find some great PCB troubleshooting documents on the Arcade Cabinets page, Tim, which is a resource that I've come across recently that seems to be very helpful. And that's at arcadecabinets.com/resources.shtml. Delusional also says test mode. So listen for the beeps and consult the manual. That's right. The test mode on Millipede is actually pretty decent. So if you put it in test mode, you hear some different beeps and things, then the manual will tell you what those mean. Right. So it could tell you that, this chip's missing or not working or whatever the case may be. So manuals are always great for helping us troubleshoot, especially older Atari games, Tim. Atari did a really great job of giving great troubleshooting instructions for all of their games. So definitely want to second that from Delusional as well. Tim, anything else here before we move on?
No, it's a good point that if you don't have the manuals of this game, that would be a really good one to get one for.
Sure. And you can find copies of it online. Tim always prefers to have like a physical copy in his hand because it's easier to look at. Sometimes it's hard to scroll through your tablet, find what you're looking for, if you're in the middle of it. Whereas with the, with your manual, you can just fold the page back, boom, leave it there, whatever the case may be. I really like that, Tim. I'll never forget, the first time that I saw the Jersey Jack, Wizard of Oz manual that was done. It was done by Butch, right? And they had designed it to sit on the game and to be folded over. I thought that was the coolest thing. So anyway, manuals are very handy for all of your games. It's a good idea to have them on hand. And, if you can't find an original copy, maybe print one out, for sure. So, and Delusional says check your AR too as well. Yes, check your AR board, for sure. So that's, Atari games, period. AR.
That's why we said start with the power, meaning that not only just the power supply, but coming off of that, and there are good test points on that board for sure, to test your power to make sure if that will definitely cause this issue, and you might need to rebuild that power board.
Agreed. So, okay, are we all caught up? I think so. Okay, Tim, let us move on to our next question from TNC. And they write, I've got a fruit machine with money slot lights. The money slot buttons light up, but there's no power going through the monitor. What should I check? Or do you know a local repair man near me? Pear repair man, he says, near me. When I say fruit machine, I mean the ones that has the cherries and the watermelons that line up when you win. So, Tim, I took this to mean Cherry Master.
Yeah.
Okay? It sounds like more of a Cherry Master. So it sounds like on the Cherry Master, we've got the lights, and those lights are lighting up, but he's got nothing on the monitor. And he does not say whether or not he's getting sound, okay? He just says that there's nothing, he says no power on the monitor, okay? So, really, I think probably the first thing we need to figure out is, are we getting sound, right?
Right.
Are we getting like a playing blind kind of thing, or are we not
if
getting
you
anything?
put money in it or trigger the coin switch, does it actually play with no picture?
Right.
If it does that, then you'll know you probably have a monitor, some kind of either connection to the monitor itself is out, and that's a totally different way to approach on how we're going to fix it. If we don't have that, and those lights, so those lights are just your little coin lights, but most of the time they're running AC or DC voltage up there, very low lights. I don't know what kind of light bulb it has in there. But if you look up the number on the light, it'll tell you what the voltage should be, or you can read that with your meter. But you need to go back through your power supply and check and see if you're getting power to your board. There has a game board in there.
Yep.
They're JAMA. And so you could check that, check your voltages and stuff. But more than likely, if it's playing, then you got a board or a power supply issue. If it's not playing at all, you're not hearing anything, that's when you would have a board or power supply issue. If you hear it acts like it's paying out, whatever it does, makes a lot of noise, then it's probably a monitor issue.
Correct. And a lot of those Cherry Master boards, Tim, do use the JAMA standard.
Right.
It's very common. So for wiring purposes, if you need help with that, we do have a video and post on the JAMA standard that you may want to check out. So let me go ahead and put this up here though, Tim. From your description, it sounds like you have some sort of Cherry Master game. Before suspecting that the monitor is the problem, let's see if we can get the game to play blind, i.e. we have sound but no picture. If you cannot get the game to play blind, then you may have a power supply and or game board issue. If the game does play blind, then it probably is a monitor issue. At that point, you can check the power wires going to the monitor chassis and ensure that's getting the correct voltage. If the monitor is getting voltage, then it is probably an issue with the monitor chassis, and you can see our post and video on troubleshooting games that are playing blind for more tips on monitor repair. And Delusional says, it's a Cherry Master, just MAME it. So, I mean, you could. But
That's
some
right.
people like the Cherry Masters. Now, Tim, I think the point you made about the lights is very important here. And the fact that the lights can be lit up, but that doesn't necessarily mean the game is working.
Right.
Okay, like, we see this a lot in arcade games where we'll see the marquee light, but, like, we see nothing on the screen. Right,
Yeah.
and so if that's the case, it's not that we're getting power to everywhere. We just know that we're getting power to the marquee light,
Right.
and so that may be different than the power that's going to the game board. So, like in this case, we could have low voltage AC going to those bulbs, which has nothing to do with the DC power supply that's going to your game board. And
Exactly.
So you want to make sure that you check all that power in there and make sure that everything is working properly. And those buttons, a lot of times, sometimes they are hooked to the game board, and sometimes they aren't. It depends on which version of Cherry Master that you have. Like sometimes it'll cue you, like it'll blink a button or something like that to cue you how to bid, when to bid, all that kind of stuff. But it just really depends on the Cherry Master game, the age of it, kind of how advanced it is, and all that kind of stuff. But power supply for sure on this. Let's see if we can get that game playing blind. And if we can, then we know we have a monitor issue. If we can't, maybe a power supply or board issue. But that's definitely the next steps to go. Tim, anything else for TNC here before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
Sounds good. So, TNC, hopefully that answers your question. Good luck getting your Cherry Master Fruit Machine game back up and running. So, okay, Tim, let's do this one from Don real quick. And Don writes, "Hello, after watching your video on how to build your own cocktail cabinet, I want to build my own upright arcade cabinet. In your video, you bought a cocktail kit from Holland Computers, which you highly recommend. I looked at Holland's website, but they don't seem to sell an upright arcade cabinet that I could build. Then I started searching and still can't find a company where I can buy all the parts. Do you know of a company where I can buy everything all from one company? I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's see, looking for recommendations. Thanks, Don." So, Tim, I have news for Don.
Yes.
Is that Holland does sell an upright
They do
cabinet.
sell
They
one.
do. In fact,
That's all right.
I need to contact Bill if we ever get time and do a video on that one.
Yes.
Because he actually offered that at one point, and Tim, you and I have just been so crazy busy, we haven't had time to do that.
Right. We could
So,
do that.
so Don, good news. Holland does actually sell an upright arcade cabinet kit.
Yeah.
The price is $695 plus shipping, which Tim to Texas was $160-$150. That puts the price of the
Heavy.
cabinet. Yeah, that puts the price of the cabinet right around what, $850?
Yeah, this is just the wood.
Yes, just
Right.
the wood.
Not the electronics.
Right.
Or the board, or the monitor,
Correct.
or anything. This is just
The
for
wood,
the
just
wood.
the kit. Now you got to remember that an upright is tougher, right, for them to put together and pack and everything, which is why it's so expensive. But the cabinet style is just like this Galaxian and this Smith pack here. It's a midway style cabinet, okay, that they do. It's like this. It has a couple of different differences in it. But the way that the monitor is slanted and you've got the little back area and everything like that, it's very similar in design to this. So, unfortunately, that price, again, only includes the cabinet itself, okay? So, you will need the other, you have to buy everything else separately. That's monitor, coin door, power adapter, power cord, power supply, joysticks, buttons, etc. And so that's why, you can go that route, or if you can find just somebody selling a cabinet in your area, that may be the better way to go, because, there's people getting rid of arcade cabinets all the time, Tim. So, it may be it. But if you contact Holland Computers and say, hey, I want to build an upright cabinet and I want to order all the parts from you, I can almost guarantee you that they will help you with that.
Right.
And they offer sales all the time. Tim, pretty regularly give 15% discounts on most holidays. So if you wait till President's Day, which is coming up, or let's see what else, Tim. Easter, Valentine's Day, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
Sometimes they offer discounts on different holidays. So they did for Halloween last year. But 15% off would save you quite a bit of money if you're looking to buy an entire kit. I mean, Tim, probably all in, you're probably looking at, what, $1,200, something like that?
Something like
So
that.
15% off $1,200.
Like
Pretty big savings.
$200 off.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty big savings. So you may want to wait until they have a big sale like that. But overall, Don, you can get it. It's just going to cost you a little bit. So, Tim, let me put this up here so we can kind of summarize what we've already discussed. So, Don, like we said, Holland Computers does sell an upright cabinet kit, $695 plus shipping. And then the cabinet is similar to the Midway Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man style cabinets. Unfortunately, the price only includes the wood, the cabinet itself. You will need to add the other items you need to the cart manually. So monitors, coin doors, power supplies, power adapter, let's see what else, power cord, joysticks, buttons, etc. If you contact Holland Computers and tell them what you're trying to accomplish, they will be able to help you out with an order. We have had nothing but good experiences with Bill and his team. I have never had a bad experience with Holland Computers. So,
No.
And if you do, contact them and they'll make it right. And that's the one thing we appreciate about him. Tim, I did put a link right here to that upright cabinet, and you can also click down below in the show notes to get that same cabinet. And you can see a picture of it there. Miss Pac-Man style, right? So,
Now, I would say the last one that I built from scratch.
right, you did.
I took bought a couple sheets of MDF at Home Depot, and I laid a Miss Pac-Man style cabinet, traced it, cut it.
We have a side panel that we kept forever,
Let me tell you something.
right?
Yeah, and it was a lot of work, and I probably spent almost that much just on wood and parts and brackets and things to make it stable, and holders, and you got to be pretty good with a router and all that. You can do it that way, but probably their kit is probably one of the best ways to go. Now, Arcade Shop used to sell a kit. I think, do they still sell?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe somebody would know. We haven't made one in so long.
I'm gonna look it up.
They did used to sell a kit that you could buy, and I thought it was pretty reasonable too. I bought that for a customer one time and made a 60-in-1. So, and a lot of it, remember, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to put MAME in it? Do you want to make a 60-in-1? Are you going to need a trackball? All those things to consider when you're ordering. But the good thing about it, you can order it in parts too. This month you could order this much. You could order some the next month or whatever.
Yeah, so they do have them, and they're a little bit cheaper than what Holland is, Tim. So it says out of stock on the Midway style. Let me see if the Defender style is in stock. Out of stock on most of these, so they may not have them in stock. They have. I mean, there's a Qbert. Yeah, it looks like they're out of stock on all their cabinets, Tim. They offer them on the website, but I don't see any in stock to order.
You may email them too and ask if they're going to get some more in. I've had good experience with both of these guys.
Yes. Arcade Shop we've used for years. Love Arcade Shop. Ordered tons of stuff from them. Got to meet them right at the Sun and Fried Gaming Expo one year. Got to meet I forget his name.
Steve.
Steve. We got to meet Steve one time, and he's awesome. And yeah, that's where they're based out of, right? Is Georgia. They're based in Georgia. So Arcade Shop, great place to go. Great place to buy parts from. Highly recommended. So, but you can contact Steve at Arcade Shop. See if they can give you. See if they have any cabinets in stock. Right now, the website's showing totally out of stock. So, but the one from Holland Computers is in stock. You can order it today. It's ready to go. So.
But I had a good time building my own from kind of scratch and just challenging myself on being able to make it and route it and do all those things. But it was a lot of work and probably cost me just that much.
For sure.
Just in parts.
Razor Show says they have a 2-player unit too. Yeah, so I think if you order the kit, it comes with the 1-player, and then you can order a 2-player panel for it. Mm-hmm. So you can get the 2-player unit. Razor Show says I built my own class of 81 too from scratch. It's tedious. I have video on it. So you can watch the Razor Show's video on building a cabinet. Tim's built cabinets. We build a lot of cabinets. And so it is a lot of work. It costs you a lot of money. And so now the MDF, though, that they use from Holland is tough stuff. It's the same stuff that they use in the cocktail cabinets.
And it's already got a shine to it. You don't have to paint it.
No, you don't have to paint it.
That's another advantage of the one I had to paint.
Right, exactly. Very nice quality and everything when you get it. And it locks together really quickly. Now, you can also go the arcade 1-up route, just buy one of the deluxe cabinets and mod that. Just kind of gut it for what it is. You could even use some of the parts if you wanted to. You can do that route too. So it's kind of up to you, whatever you decide there, Don. So, but I mean, you can get all the parts from Holland for sure. If you want to get everything from Holland, you could do that. And like I said, wait till they have a sale if you want to. Save that 15% off or so that they usually offer, and then like I said, you'll have a really nice cabinet when you're done. And the nice thing about Holland, Tim, is if you need help with assembly too, you can contact them and they'll give you help.
Yes.
Like, they've got great support. So if you need any help with wiring or anything like that. And the process is, the only thing that's different really between if the cocktail cabinet and the upright cabinet is just a little bit of the wiring. I mean, like just the way that the wiring flows in the cabinet. That's about it. And the assembly of the cabinet part. Everything else is pretty much the same. So, and that cabinet's designed to hold their 19-inch monitor, which is nice too. So you can just pop it in there. Good stuff. So, Tim, real quick, Jumping General has a question. He says, I have an old isolation transformer. The 4-tab connector are in the single horizontal rolled side by side. They aren't labeled. How do I figure out what wire goes where in my Contra cabinet? So, I hate the ones that aren't labeled, Tim.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is that you need to kind of figure out. Typically, it's like the first and the third. Are the ones that you want to hook up. You may be able to use your meter though and kind of figure it out if you meter it out, like to hook up an input to it and then kind of see where it is. The ones I've seen though, Tim, it seems like it's like the first and the third pin or the second and the fourth pin.
Seems like Bob Roberts used to have something on his site.
He does
about that.
Yeah.
And the real BobRoberts.net, and that's the last time I got one. I was like, oh my gosh, the thing had come off of it. I'm like, where am I going to go? And I remember going to his site and using that as a guide, and it walked us
he has
through
one on isolation transformers.
how that they work, and that sometimes you can figure it out from there. But you got to you got to use your meter and just kind of put the voltage to it. Got to find out where the power going in, and then it's pretty easy after that.
Absolutely. So, okay, Tim. Well, I think that leads us to our quick question and answer section real quick. So let us, now, I guess I should summarize it for people who are watching the first time. The quick question and answer section is for questions that are a little bit shorter than our regular questions, a little bit more, little bit less advanced maybe. But what I do is I rapid fire these questions at Tim, and Tim rapid fires the answers back real quick, and just a way for us to knock out a couple of questions here without having to go into a lot of detail like we have on the previous questions. So Tim, without any further ado, let us get to the quick question and answers for this month. And Tim, the first one is from KuyaMagik, and they say, is it possible to convert a Microswitch coin mech to an electronic coin mech? Okay, so that's question number one. Second one is from Ryan. I have a Galaxian arcade that I purchased, but the monitor is not working. Getting some light orange glow, and the monitor lights up in the middle when I plug it in and unplug it. And then we have Alan, who has a Knights of the Round cabinet. He's lost picture, but he still has sound. If he turns up the brightness, his tube goes white. So he thinks it's the suicide battery. Do we have any thoughts? So Tim, first one is, can we convert a Microswitch to an electronic coin mech? Ryan has a Galaxian with nothing on the monitor, and Alan has a Knights of the Round that he's lost picture, but still has sound on and gets brightness on the monitor. So Tim, with those in hand, let us take the first one from KuyaMagik. Is it possible to hook up a electronic coin mech where a Microswitch coin mech is now?
Yes, but you're going to have to hook up, match the coin and the ground wires, and you're also going to have to run power up there. Probably.
That's right. Yeah, for electronic, a lot of times you have to have power. I did not put that in the.
That's okay.
In the question, Tim.
You have to run power up there.
Yes.
Same as if you have any local techs like at Dave and Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese that they converted to a reader, which all it is an electronic coin mech, right? That sends a signal back. They can help you, or you might look at their wiring, but you're going to have to run power up there, probably 5 volts.
Okay, so Ryan had the Galaxian, Tim. He's got orange light glow, brightness on the screen, or actually he has the orange light glow, but the monitor is not. The monitor lights up in the back, but he's not seeing anything on the screen.
Well, he doesn't say if it's playing blind.
No, he doesn't.
And so even though a lot of times it could be a board issue and your monitor would still be getting power, but the board's not processing and sending stuff to it, so that could be an issue. I would check your voltage and all that kind of stuff. Check your sync wires. Check for those solder joints like we've talked about before. But watch our videos on that. It probably will help you some.
So Alan is interesting in that the fact that he's got a Knights of the Round. He thinks it's suicide. He gets sound, but he gets no picture. But he does get brightness on the screen. So what do you think is going on with Alan's game?
Well, it doesn't sound like a suicide battery issue because we're getting something, right?
Right, exactly.
We're getting something. He didn't commit suicide. He's still breathing, knocking around a little bit.
Sure.
Sounds more like a problem with the graphics chip or something.
Right. Now, it could also be the fact that we're getting sound. You could have a monitor problem, but the fact that we're getting the brightness on the monitor, Tim, he did one of the things that we recommend, right? Like turn up the brightness all the way and see if you get a wide screen. So, but you could have it not hooked up properly too, right? Mm-hmm. For sure. So anyway, let us go ahead and put up all of these answers to these questions real quick, Tim, now that you finished them up, and we can discuss them a little bit more in depth here. So KuyaMagik, yes, you just need to match the coin and ground wires to the correct pins on the electronic coin mech, and like Tim mentioned, you will need to run voltage to the electronic coin mech as well. So make sure you do that. Ryan on the Galaxian. All right, what was that? Was it Galaxian?
Yeah,
it was a Galaxian. Making sure. Check to make sure that the input wires are hooked up correctly. If so, it could be a problem in a sync or deflection circuit on the monitor chassis. Let us know the chassis make and model for additional help. Now, it could be a problem with the board, like Tim mentioned. Check your power supply. Make sure that your board is working properly, and if you need to, try to get to that playing blind spot, right?
Right.
Then we can really suspect the board. But if we're not getting playing blind, we don't necessarily know that it's a monitor issue. But I did put mostly monitor troubleshooting in here, Tim, because I'm kind of hoping that you've already gotten past the point where you think the board is working. But maybe not. You never know. So on Alan's question, now Alan, same kind of thing here. It could be it could be your monitor. Okay, the fact that you get brightness doesn't necessarily mean the monitor is hooked up properly, right? So make sure that the monitor is hooked up properly and everything like that is working. So, but it does not sound like a CPS1 suicide battery issue, okay? Because like Tim mentioned, if it was suicide, we wouldn't have anything.
Yeah,
okay, it sounds more like a problem with the custom graphics chip, which is the CPS-A-01, which, Tim, is a notoriously hard chip to get now because they don't make them anymore. So basically, the only way to get one, if it is this chip, which I've got highlighted in red on this board here, is to rob it from another one. Either another CPS1 or another CPS2 board. Okay, so if here's what you can do. Hook this JAMA board up into another JAMA cabinet.
Right.
Okay? And if it does the exact same thing,
then you know that it's
this ASIC chip may be the problem. So again, replacement's tough to find. You can rob the chip from CPS2 games as well as CPS1 games. So, but there's no other way to get it, which sucks. Tim, anything else on any of these questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, KuyaMagik, Ryan, and Alan, hopefully that gives you some good starting points on your questions. And let us know if you need any further help with any of your issues, and we'll try to help you out further. Okay, Tim, well, we are done with the questions for tonight. Now, Tim, I have been making a concerted effort to post more news on our Facebook and X feeds.
When there's news out there, yes.
There's news all the time.
I know. It seems like there's been a lot lately, or you've just been doing more due diligence.
We can, I mean, retro gaming counts too, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure.
I think so. So, Tim, with all that said, let's get into our news and our news and our discussion portion of the show. Now, Tim, this first news story is an update to one that we talked about a couple months ago, I think. I don't think it was last month. It was maybe December.
Yeah, maybe
or
before.
November.
Okay.
But there was a game called Dragon's Ascent. It was made by a company called Pixelated, okay?
Yes.
And this was a game where you basically, you insert money, the money gives you bullets, and then you shoot dragons to get more money, basically, okay? So this is what it is. So, I mean, is it gambling? Is it not? That was kind of what these lawsuits were. So we finally got the ruling back from the Kansas Supreme Court. So Pixelated basically wanted the Supreme Court to say this is not a gambling machine. They wanted them to do kind of like a declaratory judgment, like a prejudgment saying, hey, just say this is not a gambling machine, so if we get any pushback from anybody else in Kansas, we can always look at this ruling and say this is not a gambling machine, right? Like, we can't seize them, all that kind of stuff. The Kansas Supreme Court would not do it, Tim. So let's go ahead and talk about that here. So, Dragon's Ascent manufacturer Pixelated was denied a declaratory judgment stating that the state's casino laws did not apply to the game. Dragon's Ascent has operated throughout Kansas for several years without incident, said Justice Keenan K.J. Wall, who wrote the opinion. No devices have been seized, no prosecutions have been initiated, no cease and desist orders have been issued, and neither the Racing and Gaming Commission nor the Attorney General has opined that the game is illegal. So in other words, there's no reason for us to make a ruling because nobody has said that it's illegal yet.
Right.
We will cross this hurdle when we come to it.
Exactly. So they didn't really win, but they didn't lose either.
No.
It's kind of a...
They were trying to be preemptive, right?
Yes.
They're trying to get this declaratory judgment and say, hey, if we get this, then we can always operate in Kansas. We don't have to worry about people seizing our games. Because right now, as it stands, Tim, if you know, like some Attorney General wanted to say, we're going to pull out all the Dragon's Ascent games out of every establishment in Kansas, they could do it. Mm-hmm. Right? So they're trying to get that declaratory judgment to say it's not gambling. So that way that couldn't happen. Right now, if authorities want to seize it for being a gaming machine, or the Attorney General wants to seize it, or a gaming commissioner wants to seize them, they can. So it's really interesting though, Tim, because it does blur the line still between what is gambling and what isn't. And that was the big thing that we discussed when we talked about the story initially.
I'm not sure it's not. I don't.
It's weird. It's different. It's a different place.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like you. I don't know that I care enough to go after. I think that's the problem.
It's kind of an arcade game that pays out.
Yeah.
Based on how now they call it a game of skill, saying that, you know, you can get better at it. And in the article that we referenced initially, Tim, there was a guy talking about it who was really good and was making money.
Yeah.
But the thing is you have to practice it, and you're going to lose a lot of money getting good at it.
Right.
So it's kind of like this thing, like for the people who may play it 1, 2, or 3 times, Pixelmatic's probably going to make money on those people. Mm-hmm. But once people start to figure out, like, you know, how the algorithms work and how the game works, then those people, they're probably going to lose money on.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of how it works, right?
Well, it's kind of like the old days when we didn't know how to play a game. We were out in 30 seconds, we got killed. When we got good, some people could play for hours on one quarter.
Sure.
So they weren't making as much money.
Right.
Kind of a similar deal.
Absolutely. So, I mean, so is that gambling, though? So, I mean, that's the question.
Well,
so,
if you're getting enjoyment out of it, and but I see this one's paying you money back.
It's paying out. That's the problem. It's paying
different.
Out. So if you guys have any thoughts on Dragon's Ascent, we'd love to hear them. I still think it's an interesting concept, and the fact that we didn't get this judgment from the Kansas Supreme Court means that they could still be seized for being gambling machines. But I just think it's kind of it's almost a gray area in the law, Tim. And the fact that it is a gaming machine, like an arcade machine, but it's kind of an arcade machine that pays out too.
Right.
Okay? And it's not like what we think of when we think of like casino games, Tim, where it's like the whole intent is to pay out. This is a game that you play. right?
Right.
Like, it's a game that you play. I mean, what is the difference between this and a claw machine?
I don't know.
You know
Not
what I'm
much.
saying? I mean, you put money in and you don't win the claw machine or whatever, you know.
It's a gamble, right?
It's a gamble. So anyway, let us know your thoughts. If you have any thoughts on Dragon's Ascent, we would love to hear them. I think it's an interesting gray area in the law, to be sure. Tim, our next couple of stories here have to do with some upcoming home and arcade releases that'll be coming out very soon.
Okay.
And so, Tim, CES happened, the Consumer Electronics Show, since our last live show.
Okay.
And so there were some announcements there, one in particular from a company called Iconic Arcade, Tim. And let's go ahead and look at the story real quick. Iconic Arcade revealed at CES 2025 that they are working with Capcom to release 2 specific Street Fighter arcade cabinets. They're calling them XXL arcade cabinets, Tim, whereas,
extra large.
Right,
Okay.
whereas Arcade 1-Up has the XL cabinets, right? Now, these are 9/10 scale, Tim. So almost full size, right?
Right.
Just 10% less than full size of their coin-op counterparts, and will be powered by a Raspberry Pi 5 board with HDMI out functionality to record gameplay. In other words, you could hook like a video capture card up to these arcades, Tim, and record your play. If you wanted to. Pretty cool stuff.
Interesting.
Both cabinets will come equipped with 14 games, 9 of the games from the Street Fighter series, along with Knights of the Round, which we talked about earlier, Final Fight, Giga Wing 2, 1944, The Loot Master, and Pro Gear. And will feature online multiplayer and leaderboards. The price will be $700. So, Tim, these are kind of a more souped-up version of what an Arcade 1-Up is, right?
Right.
So, I don't know if people are really dying to have something slightly better than Arcade 1-Up, but I do think that there's probably the people who are really big into fighting games, I think, are very interesting. So I think those people may be looking in the market for something like this, you know, especially if they don't have a full-size arcade game now, because this may be as close as we're going to get to a full-size arcade game for the home market.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, and it's got good power in the Raspberry Pi 5 board, which is a pretty powerful board in itself. So it's going to be able to do a lot of stuff, Tim. I think it's going to be a pretty good machine. $700 is not terrible on the price, I think, for what you're getting overall. Tim, any thoughts on these machines?
No, it's just interesting that everybody that when they first come out dogged them because they weren't full size. Wonder if those people are going to be customers now, or if this is already... They would never buy one,
right.
You know, no matter what.
No, Razor Show says technically they weren't at CES. They were in a hotel room you couldn't go see unless you were invited. It's made of the same material as Arcade 1-Up. Same Chinese manufacturer is making this. So $700 is interesting.
Yeah.
With the tariffs, though, it makes you wonder if the price will go up.
Maybe.
So we'll see. Because, I mean, they're introducing another 10% on top of the tariffs that we were already paying.
Right.
So, I don't know. Price may be subject to change. I guess we'll find out. But overall, I mean, it's an interesting thing. It is made by the same people who do Arcade 1-Up, so it'll probably be the same kind of material that you get in an Arcade 1-Up, kind of like what Regular Show's saying. But, you know, you do get a little bit more power with the board, whereas, you know, Arcade 1-Up kind of has their proprietary boards. Raspberry Pi 5 has a lot of capability, flexibility that's going to give you. So, you know, I want to see what it is before we make any judgments on it, right?
Right.
So good luck to Iconic Arcade. Hopefully the market is there for it. Tim, I do feel like the home arcade market is slowing down. Is that just me?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. I don't know if
that
people are buying them as much. I think obviously during the pandemic we saw a lot of people buying them, right? Because like people are using vacation money and things, and instead of going on vacation, we were buying home arcades. Tim, I think the home arcade market may be slowing down a bit, and so it'll be interesting to see how well this sells. Just overall, especially with so many other Street Fighter releases out there from Arcade 1-Up and other companies. So
I agree.
We'll see. Now, Tim, this one really caught my attention.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because pinball machines are expensive. Okay,
Right.
Real pinball machines are expensive. I know. I bought one. You know, we bought them in the past. They're expensive, right? So there's a new company here, Tim, named Wonderland Amusements that is going to be releasing a home pinball machine called Alice Goes to Wonderland. Okay. And so Wonderland Amusements, founded by the creative team behind the Arcade 1-Up line, it says, is trying to produce a real mechanical pinball machine that's sized at 80% of a full machine for $1,000. The first videos of the game show the design, artwork, and working prototype. And so the question is, are you interested in this product? So, Tim, this is a real arcade machine.
Yeah.
A real pinball machine. This has real mechanical mechanisms. Did you watch the video with
I have
the working
not
prototype?
seen the video yet.
It looks good. Now, it is completely Chinese made, okay? So it is manufactured all in China, uses cheap plastic mechanisms and things, but that's how they keep costs down, right? Is by using the cheaper mechanisms. And so, Tim, I'm not like crazy about the theme, obviously, and we've already had some real arcade or pinball machines that have used the Alice in Wonderland theming and stuff like that. But it's in the public domain, so I think people want to use it. Just keep using it. It's just you don't have to pay anything for licensing, and that's very important. And so, for the most part, though, Tim, I think it's really great that they're able to do this. Now, to give you an idea on size, Tim, as you may know, I have the Arcade 1-Up Attack from Mars machine. The Arcade 1-Up Attack from Mars machine is 75%, is what they say,
That's
the size of a
say.
full-size
75.
machine. So this is 80. So this is only slightly bigger than what the Arcade 1-Up one is. And people were like, I don't know how it's going to play at 80%. I can tell you the Arcade 1-Up plays pretty decently at 75%. So I think at 80%, you're going to be able to get a pretty good play field on it for the most part. Enough that you have the mechanisms and everything working. I think it'll be pretty good. Razor Show says the gameplay has a long way to go. I mean, it's gonna take them a while. The video I saw was pretty impressive considering the price.
Right.
Okay. I mean, here's the thing: we have to consider $1,000 price.
Right.
Okay. So everything that you couch it as, you need to wrap it around that, right? It may, and he's saying it has a long way to go. They already have a somewhat working prototype, and the flow may not be the flow that you get with a regular pinball machine, but for a home pinball machine with working mechanical mechanisms, it looked pretty good.
Or for kids.
Yeah.
Just for your kids. To learn how to play pinball.
Absolutely.
I would think not
everybody has like $6,500 to drop on a pro model, or like $4,000 for a home model.
The Elvis and the stuff that the old home models were kind of like that. They're a little bit smaller, and they were not the same,
right?
But they were still fun,
right?
And for the price, they were probably the same way. You could buy them at Sears back in the day for like $500 or something. So I think we'll just have to get. Well, I'd like to see the finished product.
And it had an LCD screen with animations,
bottom,
Tim. With animations that look decent. I mean, look, you can buy 4 to 5 of these for the price of a home model, home model CERN.
And it'd be interesting.
I mean, that's a lot of difference. So.
And maybe it's just a theme too. That what if that was Star Wars?
Well, it probably would be $1,000.
Right. What if it was some theme that, I don't know, the theme is, we always talk about themes matter to us.
Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, maybe.
Mickey Mouse, because that's in the public domain now.
Yeah, maybe so.
Like so, yeah, exactly. Theme would make a difference. I think, like I said, Alice in Wonderland, since it's in the public domain, it's cheap and people know it, so it's easy for them to use. But I do think it has. I mean, Razor Show is probably right. It does have a long way to go, but the fact that they're doing it is pretty impressive. And you can they have a Kickstarter, so the link there, which is also down below in the show notes, is the Kickstarter, so you guys can check it out yourselves and see what you think. But Tim, it's completely manufactured in China to keep the cost down, and so that's part of it. Quality. I think somebody mentioned in our thing, like they wonder how repairable it's going to be. Probably not very repairable, I'd imagine. Probably decent. You may be able to get parts for it. You may not. We'll have to see once it comes out. But I think overall, for the price point that they're trying to hit, the fact that they can even do a mechanical pinball machine is pretty impressive, right? Because I mean, the arcade 1-Ups were what, $600, and they're virtual. I'd expect a virtual before
and
I'd
they're
expect
actually
a physical
pretty fun
one.
to just play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have like the little like little
shakers
and stuff in there. I mean, with virtual pinball, it's okay. I mean, it plays decently. It's not great, but for the price. And I think again, for the price is going to be very interesting. So,
I would definitely be interested in seeing one.
I want to play one.
It.
Yeah, I'm curious. And look, if they can make it a halfway decent one for $1,000, that's going to disrupt the market. I really feel like it does. I always felt like the home market price to hit was $2,000. I was like, if you could get pretty much like a pro model style with some of the bells and whistles removed for $2,000, you'd sell them like hotcakes. Right now, the home models from Stern, like I said, are closer to $4,000. So, and I still think $4,000 is a little high for somebody to make an impulse buy, but at $2,000 and at $1,000, especially Tim, I think it could be an impulse buy for some people.
Yeah,
so,
I think so
for sure. Okay, with that out of the way, Tim, let us get to an actual coin-operated release that's coming up, Tim. And Tim, this may by far be one of the coolest cabinets we've ever seen. And that is the upcoming Missile Command Recharged by Alan 1, Tim.
Nice.
And so it says, Atari's Missile Command returning to arcades with Missile Command Recharged by Alan 1. And this is from our friends over at ArcadeHeroes.com, Tim. But basically, the next game that Alan 1 and Atari will be releasing as part of their collaboration will be Missile Command Recharged. The cabinet is different from other Alan 1 releases in that it features a large flat screen monitor, which you can see in the picture there. It also includes 2 touchscreen panels and many unique controls, including a big red button that sits between the 2 players, and to slam, and a retro-style telephone for calls.
Wow.
Okay, so Alan 1 will be bringing all of their other Atari Recharge titles to their 2-player cabinet this year as well. Tim, this looks like so much fun.
Yeah, it does.
Missile Command was made for a touchscreen. Being able to go boom, boom, boom. I mean, obviously the original version used a trackball, right, Tim? And the trackball was good, but imagine instead of having to point that cursor where you want to go, you just touch.
Hit your foot, yeah.
I mean, just think about how much fun that'll be. And then imagine, like, you have the slam button there. I guess that's if you get into trouble. Either you or the other player can slam it. And Tim, the phone calls, I'm curious to see how this will work.
What's the phone call?
Is it going to, like, call you and be like, hey, you need to protect X and X base because we have, like, people there or something? I
Is
think
the phone going to ring? You got to pick it up?
I think it is. That's one of the coolest mechanics ever. It says 4 calls, Tim. So the
4
phone is going to ring. It is like... It is like War Games in 1980, Tim. You're at the button, you're controlling all the missiles, and you get the call, and you've got to defend the things and stuff. I think it's
sounds
awesome.
pretty fun.
It really does. So I can't wait to see this thing out in the wild. But Tim, Alan 1 has done great work with all of these recharge cabinets that they've released. And like I said, this looks like the best one yet. Really looking forward to Missile Command Recharged. Hopefully it'll be coming to an arcade near us very soon. We can give a look at the gameplay. But for the most part, Tim, anytime you can put a retro telephone on there for calls, touchscreen controls for Missile Command, and then like a big red button in the middle, I'm all about it. All about it. All about it. So... it hits all the buttons. No pun intended. Or pun intended.
Or maybe by the time our Dave and Buster's gets here built, they'll have one.
There you go. So. Okay, Tim. Now, this got a lot of comments, as you can imagine, on our Facebook page. And this is a Facebook Marketplace listing that shows a CRT monitor installed in an arcade 1-up cabinet. Now, Tim, you will see that CRT does not fit quite well.
Right.
Based on these pictures. It is sticking out of the back. So, let me read this here. A recent Facebook Marketplace listing for an arcade 1-up cabinet with a 13-inch CRT. Tim, it's a Wells Garner K4475, if you want to know. Installed was posted on the site. One of the pictures from the listing shows the CRT sticking out of the back of the cabinet, leaving the monitor exposed. Price on the listing before it was removed was $500. So, Tim, what thoughts come to your mind when you see this picture?
Look like danger. Like somebody's gonna break a neck.
Danger.
Yeah, reminds me of breaking a monitor neck.
Right.
Moving one before.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, for those of you guys who may be listening to this on the question and answer podcast feed, basically the neck of the monitor almost up to the past basically the purity rings and almost all the way up to the actual physical tube is sticking out of the back of the cabinet. Tim, for those people who are familiar with cabarets, there is a cover that cabarets used to have in order to prevent this.
Right.
This guy needs this cover, and that's what I posted in the comment section is that, dude, you need to get the cover. Okay, because this thing is a hazard to have it like this. And I don't know why you'd go to the trouble of doing this. This just seems like a waste of a nice 13-inch monitor that could have gone into a cabaret cabinet.
Right.
So, but it is what it is, Tim. It was for sale. People,
good discussion.
Somebody must have bought it because it's not there anymore, or they felt bad and took it down. I don't know, but it is interesting for sure, and it did lead to a lot of comments, a lot of discussion, and I mean, hey, like we said, it's your cabinet. You can do what you want to with it, Tim. He definitely did. Yeah. So for sure, I do not recommend putting CRTs into arcade 1-up cabinets, just for the record, but. Here's what it would look like if you were to do it. You guys can check out the picture. We have a link down in the show notes below if you want to click it. I don't think the link works anymore, Tim, because like I said, he pulled it down.
Okay.
So it is what it is. Rich just says, surprised the cabinet didn't collapse from the CRT weight. The cabinets are actually stronger than they look. They're pretty strong. I think if you built the right shelf in there, it would hold fine. So, obviously I have some arcade 1-ups. Tim, they're stronger than they look. So, and to be honest with you...
It seems like it'd be top heavy, like he's saying, though. Like
you probably need to put some weights or something in the bottom just to make sure, for sure. So, let us move on, Tim. Tim, I thought you would appreciate this. This seems like this has Tim's name written all over it, this story. The story is a couple has an 8 a.m. Chuck E. Cheese wedding for $800. One of the happiest places on earth to me was what one of the members of the couple said. So, Leilani Trotman Simeon, Tim, and Queely Simeon got married at Chuck E. Cheese in Everett, Massachusetts on January 11th. Even though Chuck E. Cheese promoted wedding packages as an April Fool's joke, the couple was able to book their wedding as a birthday party. The nuptials took place between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. and the only cost $800. So that's all they paid. After playing arcade games with unlimited passes, guests got their party favor by trading in their tickets for prizes at the Chuck E. Cheese counter. So, Tim, I think this is genius.
Yeah.
Because wedding venues are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
So if you're thinking to yourself, where can I get married that won't cost me a fortune, but I can fit a lot of people?
Hey.
Chuck E. Cheese kind of fits that.
They had the dance floor.
Right, exactly. They had the picture here has them on the dance floor and everything. Now, Tim, I posted, would you have your wedding here? And of course, I think the overwhelming consensus was no.
But I don't think many wives would go for that.
My wedding was a lot more than $800.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I could have saved a lot of money here if I just would have done Chuck E. Cheese. But my wife would never have done it.
I was going to say, I can't see that.
Yeah, exactly. My wife would have never done this. But if maybe for a second or third marriage, Tim, you can
save some money where you can.
That's right, exactly.
Better than going to the lawyers.
That's right, exactly. So, Tim, if this would have happened when you were working at Chuck E. Cheese, what would your thoughts been?
I would have loved it. It would have been fun. I would have had to come in just to watch it.
And I think, it looks like the employees are also having a blast.
Yeah.
You can check out the photos on people.com, Tim. The link is down below in the show notes.
Who's to say, some people can't even remember much about their wedding, what was said. I bet they remember a lot of that day.
That's true, exactly. Oh my goodness, yes. So, I mean, it was a, Tim, and I think it's cool that they got cards for everybody. So, like, everybody got, they all got their cards and their tickets, so they were able to do that for everybody. It's kind of like their party favor, like it said. And I'm sure that the Chuck E. Cheese crew had a blast with this. Like I said, if you would have been on the crew, you would have had a blast, right? Like, we would have made it, you would have made it the best day ever, right? So, and there, I mean, it is a pretty fun place. I mean, we still like to go to Chuck E. Cheese from time to time, not during cold and flu season, but we do like to go to Chuck E. Cheese from time to time. And they were smart in the fact that they booked a private party before opening.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
Yeah, because 8 to 10 is before open, right? So they booked it before open, and they were able to have the whole place to themselves.
Nice.
So, really great stuff. Congratulations to the happy couple. Hopefully their marriage lasts a very long time. So forever is the goal, right? So, but if not, at least you have some cool memories of being at a Chuck E. Cheese.
Right.
So.
Or we'll be reading one day that it all started with my husband being cheap and taking me to Chuck E. Cheese to get married. I don't know.
Hey, they got coverage in People, and this was an exclusive. So that makes me think that People may have paid a little bit for the exclusive.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe they got a little money back from that, too. It may not cost them as much as we think. So. Oh, here we are, Tim. Oh, that's old. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and wrap it up, Tim, I guess. Okay. We do want to remind people that we want your arcade-related videos. If you want some free advertising for your YouTube channel, we're looking for people to submit short videos, 10 minutes or less, about arcade-related topics. Send a link of your video to questions@arcaderepairtips.com, and our staff will review it. If we like it, we'll use it during one of our live show episodes. Make sure to put in a plug for your channel so people know to find you. We look forward to seeing your submissions. Now, Tim, we have talked about how our 100th live show episode is
coming up.
Okay, we're at 96.
Yeah.
97, 98, 99. We've got 3 more episodes.
Okay.
3 more months. So, if you would like to, we're not going to force anybody. If you want to send in a video just saying, hey, Tim and Jonathan, congratulations on your 100th live show episode. Thanks for helping me out. Blah.
If you think you've seen all 100 of them, we would love to hear from you. You deserve a medal. We probably won't get one.
If you would like to, if you will send a video of us just saying happy 100th and whatever notes that you want to say, I will play those at the beginning of the 100th episode in the pre-show. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
So just film yourself, and it can be audio only. We don't have to have video too. If you want to do an audio only version,
they can call, leave a voicemail on the line, right?
Voicemail too. If you want to call and leave a voicemail, that number is 972, the number 8 AR tips, or 972-827-8477. If you want to leave a voicemail, you could do that. I'll play those voicemails as well. So videos would be great because obviously we're a video format here. So if you want to send a video to us, short, keep it like under a minute or so, or 2 minutes or something, and you can say, hey, this is my name from my YouTube channel, and I'm just congratulating Tim and Jonathan on 100 live show episodes. And thank you for all your help, and we look forward to seeing more. Something to that effect. I don't care.
Yeah.
But we'll watch them, and as long as they're appropriate, we're not throwing any gang signs or anything like that, then we'll play them during the 100th episode, pre-show and post-show maybe. So depending on how many we get.
Okay.
So it's up to you. So if you're watching this, questions at arcaderepairtips.com. Send your 100th congratulatory videos and messages there, or you can leave a voicemail 972-827-8477 saying congratulations on your 100th episode.
If you're more comfortable, you just want to send a message to the email. Just want to write an email, wherever. Maybe you fixed the game that we helped you with or whatever.
Yeah, if you just want to send an email.
We can read them.
Yeah, I can have AI read them.
Yeah, right.
So that way it's an audio format. But yeah, so any 100th episode,
form like that.
Yeah, congratulations that you want to send, any format, if it's text or if it's audio only, video and audio, whatever the case may be, send them. And put a plug in for your channel. Say, this is my name from this YouTube channel.
Yeah, or your place of business if you run an arcade or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, this is my name at place of business, and boom. So we'll give you some promotion, and you guys will be congratulating us too. Works both ways. I love it. So send your messages to questions@arcaderepairtips.com for 100th live show. Tim, it makes me depressed to say that. Live show. I feel old. Yeah. I feel really old, like when I say it. So
when there's only 12 a year.
We did like how many question and answer podcasts before you started doing the live show? I mean, golly, we've been doing this too long. But anyway, guys, so 100th episode congratulations messages can be sent to questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Boom. Did I get it?
I think so.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up then with the contact information then, Tim. We have our general email at questions@arcaderepairtips.com, questions@arcaderepairtips.com. If you put live show in the subject, we will save it for the show. Otherwise, we'll answer it when we get around to it. And it is by far the best way to get a hold of us and the place that you need to send your 100th episode congratulations to. That's questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Send your emails there. We also have our YouTube page at youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. Of course, if you're in the live chat or watching this live, then you know that, but you may be listening to this on the question and answer podcast feed, and if that's the case, make sure you check out the YouTube video for this episode at youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. And as I mentioned previously in the show, comments from the last live show episode will be covered on the next episode. So, leave your comments here. Interact with us that way. We will cover those on the next episode. Tim, we have our podcast feed, as I mentioned, the question and answer podcast feed, which has live show episodes, interviews, old question and answer podcasts, etc. And that can be found on iTunes at itunes.arcaderepairtips.com, on Spotify at spotify.arcaderepairtips.com, and Audible at audible.arcaderepairtips.com. And if you are so inclined, please leave us a review. Tim, I can't even remember the last time we got a review on there. So leave us a review if you'd like to. We'd love it. So reviews are really great, and you can leave them on either iTunes, Spotify, or Audible at the pages as we mentioned them before. And again, if you're listening to this on the audio podcast feed and you want to check out the after show, you need to go to the YouTube video for this episode 96, and go to the after show part, because we do not put that on the audio podcast feed. So, and we'll talk about more what we're talking about in the after show here in a bit. And then, Tim, we got our social media pages, which have been buzzing lately. I've been trying to post news as often as I can, Tim. And that is, we have our Facebook page at facebook.arcaderepairtips.com. We have our Twitter/X feed at twitter.arcaderepairtips.com, Tim. I know it's X. I don't want to change it. Twitter.arcaderepairtips.com for our X feed. So, I may change it at some point, but not today. So, but anyway, guys, we'd love you guys to follow us on social media. We want to thank Mark for all of his contributions as well. He always does a great job keeping us up to date, especially on the pinball news, Tim. That's a lot of Mark's doing, so thank you for that. So, Tim, we're going to get to the after show. So my kids are not here at Arcade Repair Tips headquarters yet, so maybe we'll talk Kawaii Claws in the after show.
Okay.
Okay, so, Tim, we have a lot to talk about, including probably the biggest thing that's happened in sports ever, and that's Luka getting traded to the Lakers, which is
us
still
Mavericks
heartbreaking.
fans are
in fact,
not okay.
If we talk too long, I'm probably gonna cry. So we'll try not to talk too much about that. Tim will also talk about the Super Bowl predictions. Okay. We'll give you those. College football championship, Ohio State wins. We'll talk about that. A little bit of hockey. Maybe a little bit of wrestling, because I went to a SmackDown recently for my son's birthday. And we'll talk about some movies that we've been seeing, TV shows we've been watching, all that kind of stuff. Tim, I kind of want to talk a little bit about Doge. I'm talking about the Department of Government
Not the
Efficiency.
coin, right?
Not the coin. So just because I think it's crazy. And
Yeah.
we'll talk about it. So if you want to know more about that, stay tuned for the
week.
after show. Yeah, it's been a very interesting week for sure. Tim, I think we're going to wrap it up here for the regular show, though. Do you have anything else to say before we get along to the after show?
No, just happy Valentine's, everybody. We hope that you, and if you have a significant other, if you don't have anybody but yourself, we hope that you feel loved and appreciated for being here. So thank y'all for being with us, and we're looking forward to our 100th episode coming up. But keep those questions and things coming, and thank you guys in the live chat tonight. Always helpful, adding extra tips and stuff, which is what this is about. We're not the guru know-it-alls. We're trying to help some people fix some games, and thank y'all for the ones of you that also contributed some really good ideas. So hopefully we all learned something tonight, and I will talk to y'all in just a few minutes.
That's right. So here in about 5 minutes or so, we're going to have the after show. So if you're watching this on the YouTube page in the live feed or after the fact, wait about 5 minutes and we'll get into the after show. If you're listening to us on the question and answer audio feed, this is where the episode ends. So make sure you go to YouTube if you want to see the after show. But Tim, I think that does it for this episode. So again, send your congratulatory comments for episode 100 to questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Either write us, send us some audio, or send us a video. We'd love that and look forward to hearing from you guys about that soon. But Tim, we want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Congratulations to the live chat. You guys were super helpful, like Tim mentioned. It was awesome tonight. We look forward to our next episode in March. Like Tim mentioned, happy Valentine's Day. And remember, here at Arcade Repair Tips, when you fix the game,
You play the game.
take care, everybody. We'll see you in March, or we'll see you here in about 5 minutes for the after show. Bye, everybody. Sounds like they...
Yeah, looks like they just showed up, didn't they?
Thank you for watching this episode of the Arcade Repair Tips live show. All of our past episodes are available on our website at arcaderepairtips.com or on our YouTube page. This show is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please consult a professional before attempting to repair any coin-operated machines yourself. The preceding program is a Varcade Entertainment production.
And we're back with the after show for episode 96. Tim, how'd you think it went?
I think it was great. I really, like I said, really do appreciate the extra help in the live chat and stuff. But yeah, it was good. I think it was a good show. A lot of good questions.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was. I think we had a lot of questions from the last episode. Tim, we had a little bit longer time between episodes, which usually means we get a little bit more questions in. So, and I think that's what happened in this particular case. So, good stuff, guys. So, I'm glad that you guys are joining us tonight, and hopefully you got a lot out of the show. So, again, we'd love for you guys to send your 100th episode congratulations stuff to us. And like I said, make sure you put in your name and a plug for whatever your business or your YouTube channel or whatever it is, podcast, whatever it is that you do, put a plug in for that, and even say your website in there, so you can get some promotion for you too.
Sure.
So that's what we want. So Tim, how'd your January go? Was it okay overall?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it earlier. It just seemed like it was really long, but then it also seemed like it went by fast. So I ever had one of those months? It seems like Christmas was a long time ago.
For sure.
But it really wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And so it did kind of fly by fast. It was good. It was kind of a slower time of the month for us. I was kind of surprised to even go out of town. But I enjoyed the little less hours work, a little bit more catching up on stuff around the house. And then did get to go to Atlanta, which was a fun trip.
Yeah, it's a good place. Of course, we went for the Sunfire Gaming Expo one year, I remember.
I wish it would have been that week. Maybe I'll volunteer for that week next time.
Yeah, I was about to say, we can always do that. Yeah, and we have a division there, Tim. So, my company I work for, so I get to make that trip. It's been a while, actually, since I've been to that location, but should be making a trip pretty soon. Actually, I know some of the people from our office are making a trip over there pretty soon, so...
I was kind of in the suburbs. I was in the McDonough area.
Okay.
If I'm pronouncing that
Gotcha.
correctly. So southeastern part of Atlanta.
Gotcha. So good stuff. But anyway, hopefully you guys had a good January as well. Tim, you have any February plans happening or anything you got coming up?
When my granddaughter gets here any day, we're going to be looking forward to meeting her. And would appreciate everybody's thoughts and prayers on my daughter. She's had a pretty rough pregnancy, but I think that everything is going to be fine. And so anytime now, I've got waiting for the bat signal to call. The other day she called me and she just needed to answer a question. I said, you cannot call during this time unless you tell me you get to the hospital. So I'm kind of waiting on that call.
Now, I will say,
any day.
I don't know how it is for her, but I know that when my wife was pregnant, I was the one that was calling everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say if you get a message from Dad,
husband, yeah,
then that means that you're probably that things are going down.
Yeah.
Because I had a list of people I was supposed to text and call.
Right.
Whenever it happened, these are the people that you text and call.
Okay. So you've been through this, and so
I definitely have.
So you're and not too long ago.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to meeting my granddaughter and praying that everything is fine there. So that's wrapping up February pretty much. Once she's due any day, and then if not, they're going to induce on the 19th. So we're hoping for a Valentine's baby. That would be kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So after that, I don't really have any trips coming up this month. Got plenty of work around here to do, and trying to purposely stick around in case I'm needed. That's about it. What about you? Do y'all have Valentine's plans?
We usually stay at home for Valentine's Day. We cook or something.
It's such a, we go out.
It's on a Friday this year too.
Yeah, we go out and eat anytime we want.
Right.
I don't really like fighting a big crowd and all that. I'd rather cook at home.
Yeah. So usually we cook something we haven't cooked before.
Yeah.
And so right now we have a subscription, I think, to email meals. Which is basic. So emails is a service where you pay, I forget how much it is. I'm on a trial now. But what they do is they have all these recipes. You tell them what kind of food you like. They have all these recipes. And if you want something, you just hit add to Walmart, and it adds it to your Walmart cart app, and you just go pick it up.
Okay.
It adds everything you need for that meal.
Neat.
Okay, so you just look, oh, that looks good. Add to cart, basically. And it adds all the stuff to your Walmart cart, and then you just go pick it up. And you got everything you need to make the meal. Okay. You got the recipe card on it right there. So
that sounds like fun.
We're probably going to browse through that and see what looks good.
But of course, the kids are big enough; they're going to want some candy and Valentine's.
Yeah, we usually get some candy and things. My My daughter, they don't really do Valentine's Day at their level anymore, so she's kind of outgrown that. But my son is still big into it, so he's got Valentine's that we're working on and things like that. So yeah, I mean, but our stuff will be at home, and like I said, we'll cook a nice meal, and we do it as a family too. So we, of course, our kids just eat the same thing they always eat, which is like chicken nuggets or whatever. So,
Right.
But we'll eat something that's different, and usually have a good time cooking it too. So looking forward to that. So let's see. Yeah, Valentine's Day. Otherwise, though, like trying to go to a restaurant is like the whole weekend's going to be blowout busy.
Crazy.
Restaurants here, I don't know if people know this. Restaurants here are always busy.
Yeah, always.
So you can imagine on Valentine's Day, they're like doubly busy. So now, Tim, I did see that. What was it? Applebee's was doing their date night thing again, like where we pay like $100 and you get like once a month date night meal basically for free for you and your wife. But they're only offering it for like so many people. I forget how many. So, but we don't go out enough to do that, and I don't know if I want to go to Applebee's when I do. So you know, but I saw that they were offering that. It's a good deal if you want to take advantage of it. So, Tim, any investment talk that you got?
You know, I said that I've been doing a little bit of investing, and but boy, the market has just been crazy.
It has.
And
up and down, up and
yeah,
down.
really. So bought some stuff on sale the other day. When it was on sale,
I did too.
I leveled down a little bit. But some of my investments, you know, about a year and a half ago, got some WWE stock. It's doing really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Gold I bought 4 years ago is done pretty good. So. You know, and the older you get and the more that you get in your account, you want to hold on to it. You don't risk as much. But I'm feeling the need to maybe just let things kind of settle on the political realm a little bit. But I don't know if they will. It's kind of crazy. It's like,
what are we, 15 days in?
Yeah, 17 days in.
17 days in?
And it's like, wow. And I see, and good or bad. I mean, I know people that are just like, go, 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 and other people are like, whoa, hold on a little bit.
Right.
I honestly see both sides to it because, you know, it feels like we've had, it's just going to be different, you know, and so are we going to tariff people? Are we not going to? Are we trading with Mexico? Are we, you know, so... I did see where Panama said that we're not gonna charge for our ships to go through anymore.
Thank goodness.
And so I was like, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But you know, so the good, bad, and the ugly is all there. So I'm kind of really waiting for the waters to smooth out a little bit. But I'm looking and I'm listening, and I bought some NVIDIA stock.
Oh, you did too. So I bought it
months ago.
I bought it when it bottomed out because of what was that, DeepSeek or whatever the AI is out of Japan. So I got it for $117.
Yeah, and
it's already up like $2 or $3 a share from there.
Right. So that's the kind of investment I'm doing. Stuff that I bought some Netflix a while back. Remember when they were having all the problems?
Yep.
And they were trying to show the boxing fight, and everybody was like, Netflix sucks. And you know, they reported really, really high earnings. It's a big surprise.
And they're still going up on the price.
And they are. And so I did buy some of that then. So. A little bit of smarter investing, not so much calculated risk, better calculated risk.
I bought NVIDIA too when it bottomed out because of the Chinese AI stuff, and I saw it flagging at the bottom, you know, and I was like, okay, this is the time to buy, you know, I noticed it would get to 18, and it'd dip for a second, and it'd go back up. And I was just like, okay, that's where it's going to settle because it just keeps dipping, right? It keeps doing flagging. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and buy in, and I did, and I've made some bucks already, so I'm happy with that. NVIDIA chips are awesome, and the graphic cards aren't going anywhere, and they power AI for the most part. So, I mean, you know, there's a reason they've taken over Intel. Think about that for a second. That's
a big
amazing.
deal.
So.
They're a big company. They got and you know, I about 5 years ago I started doing this. I buy like corn, wheat, and cotton and stuff in the winter on commodities through an ETF.
Right.
And then in the summer I buy heating oil and stuff like that to another ETF. And I just swap them. I buy and sell every year. And, you know, sometimes I only make $40-50 or whatever, but I've made it consistently. I've never lost on it. It's just a simple math. Gas right now is usually lower, But again, I didn't jump really high on it right now because I don't expect it to be really high this summer. We'll see.
So do you want to talk about tariffs and Doge and stuff, or do you just want to leave that alone?
We can.
I just want to say one thing.
Well,
all I want to say is that look, I don't necessarily. Let's talk about USAID real quick.
Yes.
Okay, because that's been the big thing. I'm not in favor of necessarily getting rid of it,
Right.
like we seem to be doing. But I do think there's obviously been some wasteful spending in there.
For sure.
I mean, that's what we know. I mean, I don't know if I'm all about throwing out the entire baby with the bathwater.
No.
Okay, which seems to be what we're thinking about. But I think some of the things that have been pointed out are very fascinating and crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to say. Like you said, there's people who are like, slow down, speed up. I'm like, I'm getting vertigo.
Yeah.
From some of it. But what do you think?
Well, the fact that a lot of that is, I don't, in my own personal household, we have to look at how many of you have went through your apps and saw subscriptions that you never watch or never do, and you had to turn them off? You're like, why am I spending $8 for this channel or this app when I never use it, right? One we had was Drive 360. So if we do that on a personal level, why would we not want our government doing that on a periodic basis?
So speaking to that same metaphor that you're using,
Yeah.
It's kind of like the United States has a big credit card, and our kids got a hold of it and just started charging a bunch of stuff, and we have no idea what it is, and now we're looking at the bill that came in, and we're like, what is this? What is this? I didn't spend all this Robux or Mine Coins or anything.
Right.
Where did all this money come from? And so, like, I find some of the things that they're finding fascinating, and other things I'm like, well, I understand that. I think, like I said, they sound like they want to get rid of it entirely. I don't know if I'm in favor of that necessarily, but I think there's obviously been wasteful spending in some of this.
So I'm all against wasteful spending, and I think that it's just people will argue with me, I'm sure, but what the last few years haven't been working for me. So I'm open for new stuff. I'm open to try and anything that can reduce my taxes. But you could take all that and go away because I still am hourly. If they would go with the no taxes on overtime,
that's right.
I would get about a $500 a month raise. So I'm open to that. But I like the fact that we're trying some new things,
we all know there's government waste. Do you remember the movie Independence Day when it came out in the 90s? Remember he was talking like $5,000 for a hammer, $4,000 for a toilet brush. Like we all know that there's wasteful spending in government. It's just like nobody's ever investigated that. They never wanted to.
Right.
And so I don't know if
it's hard to investigate something that you're getting benefit from, right? True. So here's the truth, the absolute truth. I don't trust anybody, hardly, and especially, but it is my money that I'm giving them. So it'd be just like, you guys send me your money, I'll do your investing for you. Well, that's...
You're going to be Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, I'm going to be a Bernie Madoff. So, good, bad, or ugly, whatever your opinion is on it, we'll just I'm more of a let's wait and see. I'm not panicking. I'm not scared. I'm not, I can remember when that everybody was worried about TikTok going down. Well, it was down for 12 hours or something. But, there were people that legit, that was their livelihood and their business. I don't blame them for being upset. I would be like us if YouTube just decided, hey, we're not going to let you guys have any videos anymore. We would be upset.
Yeah.
I would think so. But at the same time, I was like, calm down. It'll work out. Something will happen. Life really, at this stage in my life, I have come to embrace that a lot of stuff changes.
That's true.
And the older I get, the least I'm upset when stuff changes. 10 years ago, everything that changed just really seemed to upset my apple cart and get me upset and worried and stressed. And I've realized it's just not worth it.
Right.
So I like the fact that some of that stuff is being looking into. I know people have different opinions, and if you're taking away people's money, we're worried, about stuff like Medicaid, Medicare. I get all that. I have those same fears, but if they don't tax tax Social Security, I'm also for that.
Yeah.
You know, so hopefully that I think through it all there'll be some good changes. And if not, guess what, guys? That's where we vote for people, and we have a right and say so. Talk to your congressman. Whatever aisle you're on, stand up if that's how you feel. But I would not die on that hill if I was in support for a lot of that wasteful spending. And that's what I'm seeing. People are like, oh, no, you can't do this. I'm like, really? You're okay with it? You know? Let's be honest. We got a lot of money that we're just blowing. We're giving a lot of money out that when we got people in California and people in North Carolina that could use that money.
And I see people saying, well, that's only $40,000 or that's only $400,000 or whatever. And when you have billions of dollars, it's true. But like you were saying, we have people here that $400,000 towards recovering North Carolina is a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? If we cut that from some foreign aid stuff and give it to them, I feel like we need to help our people before we help other people. Kind
Exactly.
of stuff, you know, I mean, it's that kind of stuff.
And we have a worldwide audience here. It's not that we don't care.
Right.
You know, I always tell people I got a fence around my backyard. It's not because I don't care about my neighbors. I care more about the people in my house. That's the truth. Yeah. And so I do care about them. And I somewhat care about my neighbors. I love the people in my house, so I want to protect and make sure that my dogs don't go running off and everything.
My dogs still do anyway. It is what it is.
Anyway, we don't have to harp on this for a while because I know a lot of people are going to disagree.
My head is
people are going to think it's a lot. Put it this way. I think if you're the biggest Trump supporter in the world, your head is still spinning and you're probably wondering, what the heck is he going to say next? And then if you are the biggest anti-Trump guy, and there's plenty of them out there, I would, I get it too. I understand, but I just tell everybody, give it time. It's 3 weeks, man. We just give it time, let it ride out. It's kind of like my daughter's calling me, what am I going to do? I can't shoot TikTok videos. I can't watch them. I'm like, you'll live. It really will be okay. And guess what? It was okay. So, and it still will be okay. And all of us guys have been around a while. We know, at least we got games we can play. As long as we got electricity, we'll be fine.
Oh, somebody come
in. We got some visitors.
Okay.
Not yet.
I'll come get them.
Oh, they come on in.
I'll come get them. We'll finish up our stuff and then
okay.
We'll bring them in.
We're almost there.
Question from Zach says, love your videos. Can the series be digitally purchased or it's still DVD only? You guys ever up in Georgia or have any good repair contacts in North Georgia area? Tim was just in Georgia. We talked about it earlier, Zach. So if you weren't here, he was just in Georgia last week. So, and of course, the people we know there, of course, we are friends with Preston and Patrick from what used to be the Game Room Junkies. And both of them are collectors there, and so you can talk to them.
I would go to the Southern Fried Gaming Expo. It's in Atlanta every year. Google that, Southern Fried Gaming Expo, and you would definitely connect if you go with some people. If you've never been, maybe you've been before, should be able to connect with some people in your area.
For sure.
Maybe we could help out if you
So we looked at digital platforms for the videos, like for our DVD releases and things. The problem is that we worry that if we put it up there and people spend money on it and then the videos get taken down or the platform goes under, that you don't get those videos anymore. Whereas with the DVD, guess what? They're yours forever. So so that's why we've kind of kept the DVDs up. At some point we tried. I looked at a platform and we were going to do it. But like I said, the idea of people paying for something and then at some point not being able to access it doesn't really sit well with me. You buy a license. I mean, that's how it is with digital video. You don't necessarily buy the content. Mm-hmm. When you buy the DVD, it is kind of a license too, but you have a physical thing that you can always use. And so until we can find a platform that I know is going to be around forever that will support what we want to do, it's going to be DVDs going forward.
And if y'all have any suggestions on that type of platform or something that somebody's having luck with, let us know.
For sure. He also says, I have a Rampage and Outrun that need the magic touch. What's your first check for an original Rampage that freezes on boot, worked before moving from Ohio to Georgia? So, always power supply first. Anytime we get freeze-ups like that, power supply first. Now, with that said, I'd probably reseat any kind of connectors. So if it's an edge connector, I would reseat that because sometimes that can cause weird stuff like that. Especially when we move games, of course. So make sure you reseat the connector on that. Check the power supply. Make sure the power supply is good. Tim, anything else for Zach?
No. What does Zach have a follow-up? What did he say?
He just said the Rampage that freezes on boot.
Okay.
Worked before it moved.
Yeah. I would definitely check your power supply, check your voltages, and make sure that you're wiring connectors, especially after moving, that something didn't get jostled
For sure.
reconnect stuff.
Yeah. Alan says he has been to that expo a few times, including the first one. I was at the first one too, Alan, and it is a fantastic expo, one of the best in the country. So make sure you check out the Southern Fried Gaming Expo. It used to be Game Room, it's not Gaming Expo. They have board games, they have arcade games, they have all sorts of gaming stuff. So definitely check that out. Tim, let's move on from political discussions to Super Bowl predictions. So we got the Eagles, we got the Chiefs.
Right.
Okay, that's what it's coming up on Sunday. Tim, to be honest with you, I haven't even thought about the Super Bowl much. I may just catch part of it. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it. We're going to be so busy. So, but with that in mind, predictions, sir.
Well, if you watch the show enough, you'll know our team is the Cowboys.
Yes.
There is a law. Well, just I think Jerry Jones is now taking over the Mavericks too. But if you're a Cowboys fan, you can't root for the Eagles.
Nope.
And we've talked about this multiple times on the show that the Chiefs are not my favorite team either, but I don't dislike them. And we are Patrick Mahomes fans. He went to the same high school that Jonathan went to. So a lot of Chiefs fans around here. And I think it would be cool if he goes down in history as the first person to win 3 in a row. So, but I'm an Oklahoma fan. I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. So, I'll kind of... Have you ever watched a game and caught yourself in the middle rooting for... Like you didn't know who to root for, and maybe you're watching the game and you catch yourself rooting for one team or the other. Yep. That may be me this week. I may start... I do think the Eagles are kind of an underdog, and I do like a good underdog story. But, boy, it's hard to root for the Eagles if you're a Cowboys fan. So, my prediction, Chiefs by like 6 points. I think it'll be close. I don't think it'll be a blowout. Maybe 30-24.
I'm kind of with Tim here. I think Chiefs will win. I think it'll be close. 6 points is a good spread. I think the spread, though, is only like maybe 1.5 or something.
That's
it's almost
so
a pick 'em. Yeah. It's almost a pick 'em if you're looking at the gambling line. So for me, though, I think it's going to be within 6 points for sure. I don't think it'll be a touchdown over. It's going to be a close game, and I think the Chiefs are going to pull it out. So, yeah. Let's talk about college football, Tim. What did you think about the championship game between Notre Dame and Ohio State? Well, before we get to that, though, I just want to say that I was proud of Texas. I did not think that we were going to win that game. I thought Ohio State was the better team. We made it a game.
Yeah.
And we were close, but we just couldn't get over it.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And I'm okay with that. I felt like Ohio State was the better team going in, and so to see them win didn't surprise me at all. I felt like if they got past us, Notre Dame would be a breeze.
Yeah, and but it was a good game. It was a decent game. So it was all right. It's just hard. Like I said, it wasn't a SEC team in there or nothing. It was okay. Yeah.
Now, one of the...
Again, I didn't care who won.
Right, one of the guys that I work with at one of our divisions in up north, he was from Ohio State. He lives in Ohio. He went to Ohio State.
Wow,
he has season tickets. He has Ohio State memorabilia in his office. He freaked out. He was at the game. Just had a great time.
Well, they deserved it. I think they were the best team in college. I think the best team won out of all the teams.
Now, speaking of football, Tim Zach says, "What is your favorite football arcade game?" Easy, NFL Blitz.
Yep.
How can you not like that one? So Blitz 2000 is the best iteration of the arcade, I feel like. So
that would be our pick.
Yeah, there's some other good ones. I was trying to think of the other ones that we've played, but Blitz by far is the most fun to play.
Yep.
Let's see, Tim. Any hockey talk you want to talk about? Stars are doing good.
They're playing pretty good. Yeah. The only team in Texas that's even...
I tell you what, the Dallas Stars front office is amazing. They are competitive every year.
Yeah,
How do you do? That's hard. Golly, it is hard to keep any kind of professional team competitive every year. The Dallas Stars have done that since 2018 or something like that. It's amazing. So they're 34-18-1 right now. Tim, I think they're third in their division right now, our conference. Easily going to make it into the playoffs. We'll just have to see how things go from there. I will talk a little wrestling real quick. So for my son's birthday, we went to SmackDown in Austin.
Okay.
And had a blast.
This really is like time. Your second or third time?
Third time. So we went to a SmackDown.
With your kids,
yes,
right?
March of last year. We went to Raw in August of last year, and now we went to SmackDown again. And it was a week before the Royal Rumble, which was a really good, premium live event, Tim, is what they call it. Lots of surprises in there. Had a really good time being there. We made signs this time. My kids made signs and everything, which we have in there, and just had a really good time. So we can ask the kids. I'll bring the kids in a minute. You guys can ask them what they thought. Now, Tim, though, this is it. I mean, so the
Royal
Royal Rumble ends.
Like
I watched the Royal Rumble with my kids. It ends. I've got the post show on, and all of a sudden my phone's blowing up.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay, like what is this? 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, right? And I get the news that we freaking traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis.
Right.
And Tim, talk about a bad taste.
I'm thinking Anthony Davis and 18 other players, but no.
Everybody's making fun of us. Like even Merriam-Webster made fun of us today.
Right.
Let's see, the Grammys, they made fun of us. As a long life Dallas Mavericks fan, I literally have banners over there from the 80s, okay? Back when Popeye Jones was here, okay?
Mark Cuban's making videos. I do not own the team anymore.
I mean, so this...
Trump's calling in saying, I wouldn't have voted for that.
So Nico Harrison, former Nike executive, is our general manager. And this guy is either a genius or a moron.
We can't figure out
I have yet
which
to
one.
know. So
time will tell.
Time will tell. And so I am giving him the benefit of the doubt right now. But this man is either a genius or a moron. I will tell you this, though. I mentioned it before. Watching Luka was amazing.
Yeah,
that was the best thing. It didn't matter if the whole team sucked or if the whole team was good. Just watching him was amazing.
It didn't matter who they played. Like I told, we went to watch a game with Landon, and I said, one day you're going to be able to tell everybody you saw him play.
Right.
Like I saw Michael Jordan play or Larry Bird play. Mm-hmm. And, so I'm like, enjoy this moment because one day you'll say, I saw that guy.
Right. Yeah, so I mean...
that was one of those players.
And it was... Oh, man, just heartbreaking, man. This is a guy
We are not okay.
We are not okay.
You're Texas fans.
Dallas fans, for sure, yeah. I mean, I've been a Dallas fan my entire life. So Nico is either brilliant or a moron. I have yet to determine. Like you said, time will tell.
Maybe it was a genius move. Right. I don't know. Maybe there's something we don't know.
The comparisons are like the Babe Ruth trade, right? From Boston to New York. I mean, golly, that sucks. If that's the case, I would have never made this trade in a million years.
No,
personally, never would have done it. I would have kept Luka until Luka was ready to retire. I understand he was about to get the Supermax, Tim. I think that had to do with it a little bit, even though they won't admit it. That's a lot of money they were getting in line to pay him, and I don't think they were ready to pay him that much money based on his performance. Which, like I said, would indicate to me that they're morons because we all know the Sands Corporation that owns the Dallas Mavericks has plenty of money. They're not hurting at all. And so, but right now we're 26 and 25. I mean, we're barely over 500. Right. I don't even know if we're going to make it into the playoffs. So, look, if the Mavericks have a championship in the next 5 years, you can make a really good argument it was worth it.
Right. If we had 40 wins right now, would that trade have happened? I don't know.
That's true too.
It's so at some point, but we all screamed at Jerry Jones for doing the same thing, keeping a player for years and years that everybody loved.
The Cowboys have never had a Luka.
Well,
like one of the top 5 players in the league.
That's true.
What I'm saying?
Ezekiel Elliott was at his prime, was probably one of the best. Right.
Running back, look, what does the NFL stand for, Tim? Not for long.
Not for long.
Not for long. You can't give long-term deals to NFL, especially running backs. I mean, running back, that position is so dependent on your offensive line. So dependent. But that's a different thing entirely. Mm-hmm. Luka's defense.
It's not so much the trade; it's what we got in trade.
The trade. Right.
If you got Anthony Davis, couple name players, and 10 draft picks or something.
We got Anthony Davis. I forget the other player we got. A young player. He's good. Okay,
he's been playing really good.
And then a first-round draft pick in 2029?
Yeah.
I mean, we should got at least 3 more draft picks. Exactly. At least 3 more first-round draft picks.
Exactly. We're gonna side rail and be really upset here in a minute. We'll have to go on to something else.
I have listened to all of my sports podcasts. They've been covering it endlessly. At this point, I am past all of my stages of grief. I am to acceptance, Tim.
Yeah. So, okay.
At this point, I'm looking right at Nico and I'm saying,
I'm not buying any Maverick tickets anytime soon.
No, me neither.
I don't want to go see them guys play.
All I'm saying, Nico, is time will tell, man. Yeah. If you just trade away the best player in besides Dirk in Mavericks history, you're out. You're gone. I'll never support you. But if you bring a championship, man, maybe it was worth it. I mean, it's like I said, it's a time will tell move. We'll see what happens. But golly.
Or does he play one of them where he goes to the Lakers for a couple years and then brings him back?
Yeah, maybe. Here's the thing. He's only going to be under contract for a couple more years. Yeah. I mean, technically, he can leave and then go somewhere else. He could come back. I don't know. But
we'll see.
I don't like how he didn't include Luka in on it, but I know why he didn't, because if he did, Luka would have had a say in the matter, and at that point he would have wanted to choose the team he went to, and then he'd have to decide like what was the best package from that team. Okay, I understand that, but look, you should at least give a guy a heads up and say, man, I'm just letting you know.
I mean, do you see Luka and LeBron getting along though?
I think
don't
so.
know.
LeBron's at a stage in his career where he can play second fiddle.
Yeah.
And if he needs to, he can play the top dog if he needs to. I think he's mature enough now to do that. So.
Okay. Yeah, do you think the Lakers are going to be better?
I mean, it depends on how Luka plays. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
And is he hurt? Is he really hurt?
He's supposed to come back mid-February. That was already on the schedule.
Okay.
So, I mean, we know that he's going to be back. And we play the Lakers, Tim, I forget what day. Sometime in March. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be...
Yeah, they're already hyping that
Yeah,
up.
I was about to say, that's going to be crazy. So, my sports heart is broken, though, Tim.
Yeah.
And
There's this feud.
I would have rather watched Luka play for the next 10 years than have a championship.
I'm thinking there's got to be a joke. There's got to be a joke. It's like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So it is what it is. But anyway, it's been all over. You guys know about it. There's nothing more I can say that hasn't already been said. So There we go. Real quick, if we get to TV show movie talk before we get to that, Tim, Netflix is raising prices again. The ad plan is going from $6.99 to $7.99. Just golly, they had more subscribers than ever, and then they got up on the price too.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Okay, Tim, let's talk about what you've been watching. We were talking before the live show that you had been watching the OJ.
Yeah, the OJ.
Netflix
I think
OJ
it's
series.
called The Manhunter on OJ or something on the new Netflix series.
Right.
And having lived through that time, and I remember that's when cable news was kind of really new, and we could sit there and watch. I'd go home from work. I was working overnight.
Or TV.
And I would get up at 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I was working overnights, and I would just be glued to watching real life, and I was like, this is crazy. And but the documentary is shot very well. It shows a lot of updates today and talks about different things. I would highly recommend watching it. If you don't remember that time, maybe you're too young or whatever, it's some really good history there. And to see where we were as a country and stuff, and really, we haven't made huge strides. You would just think that this was the way that it was, and I don't know that a lot of stuff has changed. I really hope that out of the darkness could come something good, and maybe there has. I don't know. It's a horrible. It's more graphic than I thought. Than I remembered.
What else? Anything else?
Outside of that, what is this show that my wife has been watching, and I catch myself watching it some too. It's about Jane Fonda's in it, and this other lady, and their husbands tell them that they're going to leave them.
Oh.
But the twist of it is the husbands are leaving them for each other. So the two guys are going to be a couple.
Okay.
So it's just funny, but they're like, and they couldn't stand each other, but now they have this connected hate towards their husbands, which they still have to put up with. I don't know what the name of that show is. Somebody can help me. It's really funny, and it's just kind of a odd show. I've been watching that a little bit. Other than that, I've been watching the Beast Games, which I will get to watch is it the next and last episode?
Yeah, I think
tonight.
the kids just watched it, so I'll tell them not
no
to
spoilers. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to watch that. I've really enjoyed watching Beast Games.
It's not bad. It's not bad. So let me talk about a little bit what we've watched. We talked about so for my son's birthday we went to SmackDown, but we also had a small party, which we did a theater rental at our AMC to see Dogman.
Nice.
So, and Dogman was good. It was actually a little bit more sentimental than you would have thought for like a kid's cartoon. So, very good. My kids have read all the books, all of the books, even the latest one. And so, big Dogman fans. We've read all of Captain Underpants, which is also Dave Pilkey. We've read all of Dogman. So, Cat Kid Comic Club, Tim. We've read all of these books. So, we know the characters pretty well. And the movie did not disappoint. It's done by DreamWorks, the same people who did like The Bad Guys and Shrek and all that kind of stuff. Very good. And like I said, it's even a little sentimental. It might get you a little bit. So, good stuff. Venom: The Last Dance. I watched that on demand, Tim. That's the last Venom movie with Tom Hardy. It was good. If you like the Venom movies, you'll like this one. And it is kind of the last one, Tim. So enjoy it. It's good. Tim, we've been watching Shifting Gears, the new Tim Allen sitcom.
That looks kind of good.
It's actually, I think it's better than Last Man Standing and Home Improvement.
Wow.
So, and that's saying a lot. I liked Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Last Man Standing was okay. But it's a little bit smarter in the dialogue. than those.
Okay.
So worth your time for sure. A little different, very sitcom-y, but I'm a sitcom guy. I like my sitcoms. So just something nice and light to watch like before you go to bed.
So that's probably on Hulu then.
It is on Hulu.
ABC.
It's on Hulu, or you
Okay.
can get on ABC if you've got your cable or whatever. Tim, I watched a documentary on Dirty Pop, the boy band scam on Netflix.
Okay.
Which is about the guy who put together NSYNC and
Yeah,
Backstreet Boys
I saw that.
and
I
how
saw-
he basically stiffed them
Looks
for all the money.
interesting.
In a minute, we're almost done. I watched the Jerry Springer documentary,
Okay,
which
that
is
looks kind of
lights,
interesting.
camera, action, which is
Yeah.
super interesting. And Tim, I really watched it because like it showed you the behind the scenes stuff. Like obviously,
how
we're
much
all
was
familiar.
staged, or
We're
how
all
much
familiar
was,
with Jerry Springer, but like I tell you what, the producers of that show were under the most pressure of anybody else you could ever imagine to
Wow.
get people.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then the other thing I was watching was Creature Commandos on Max, which is part of like the new DC universe. Okay, and it's kind of like Suicide Squad, but with
Okay.
aliens, and it's a cartoon. So if you like things like Invincible, which is the new season is now on Amazon of that. If you like stuff like that, kind of edgier cartoon kind of stuff, it's good. So, and like I said, it's kind of part of the new DC universe with like the new Superman films and all that kind of stuff. So, in fact,
Okay.
it kind of the Suicide Squad and then Peacemaker, this kind of runs right into that. So if you've seen like Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, like
Okay.
Creature Commandos has some of the same characters in it. So,
Okay.
but it's a cartoon, so those characters are represented a little bit differently. So, okay, we're ready to bring the kids in.
Yeah, let's bring them in. Let's,
Okay, well,
want to
ask
hear
about-
about the WWE.
Yeah, you want to
and
scoot
the-
over real quick? So WWE, Dogman, and then Creams is what we're gonna talk
right.
about, right? I gotta
Yeah.
bring in the experts. Hang on.
Uh-huh.
Okay, kids. You guys have clothes on, right? No PJs? You got pants? Hey, just making sure. Had to make sure. Don't want them to be on. Okay,
That's it,
close the
almost
door. Okay, you can come sit with me. Olivia will sit on the chair. You come sit with me.
Should I let you?
No, you're smaller. You can come sit with me. Okay,
What do you
so this is Alex, and that's Olivia. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the stuff we did. So we went to SmackDown for Alex's birthday. So, Alex, how was SmackDown? Good. So, what do you guys think? Okay, it's good. Well, yeah, we're talking with people. You have to be able to talk.
What was the best fight?
Yeah, what was the best match?
What was the best
What was your
match?
favorite match?
I don't know.
You don't know? Who's your favorite person to see?
I don't know. Cody.
Cody Rhodes. We like Cody Rhodes. We got to see a match with LA Knight, which
Jimmy
is one,
Uso.
and Jimmy Uso. That's right. Some of our favorites, and Damian Priest, right? Yes, and Mello. Yeah, Carmelo Hayes. Anybody else? So, which one was your favorite? Oh, we got to see almost all the women wrestlers because they
Okay.
all came out and did like a little.
Royale.
Yeah, they had like
Ah.
a little match. It
I was going to
pretty
say, did they have like a special Rumble match or anything?
good. Not really. The main event was just like a standard kind of main event.
Okay.
So, but Kevin Owens, right? Jimmy Uso versus Kevin Owens. So, and I know that doesn't mean anything to Mr. Tim, but those people who watch wrestling know. So we were there for that. It was fun. We made signs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we rented a movie theater to see.
Dogman.
Okay, so tell us about Dogman.
Good.
So, what did you like about Dogman?
I don't know.
You don't know. So,
Two of your favorite things.
what was your favorite part?
Supplier.
Oh, so there's a part in the thing
Don't
where,
spoil it.
well, there's a part where there's these giant things fighting, and one of the things does buildings fighting, and one building does a suplex to another.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a building. One robot does a suplex to a building,
Well, I see.
and it's a suplex. like that.
Suplex.
So that was your favorite part. What about you, Olivia? Was the suplex part?
No.
What was your
I
favorite
liked
part?
when Petey cloned little Petey.
Oh, okay. So, and if you've read the Dogman books, that's not a spoiler, right? So the bad guy cat makes a clone of himself, but the clone is a kid. It's not. It's a kitten. It's not
Oh.
And he
like.
forgot to read the directions.
Yeah, the directions say
Wait,
that
18 years.
you have to wait 18 years for it to mature
Oh, my
because
goodness.
it comes out of kitten. So, so you like little Petey?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Anything else about Dogman?
No.
No. So we had about 20 people there, right? And so it was fun. So let's see. And you guys got Petey's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Petey.
Yeah. And what did you get at SmackDown? Like, what did you get? What did you guys get? We got you guys stuff. What'd you get?
Cody autograph.
So Olivia got a Cody Rhodes autograph picture.
Oh, wow.
So she has an autograph of AJ Styles too. Those are her two favorite wrestlers. And then what'd you get, bud?
A John Cena shirt and a John Cena hat.
John Cena shirt and a John Cena hat.
Nice.
This is John Cena's last year to wrestle.
Okay.
So your shirt says the last time is now.
Okay.
So
Nice.
this is the last time we're going to see John Cena in a wrestling ring for a while. So, and then what was the other thing? Oh, okay. So the new crane place that's in the mall, Kawaii Claws,
Yeah.
claw machine place. Tell us what you guys think about that.
Good.
Okay, tell us why it's good.
Because there's a lot of cranes.
Because there's a lot of claw machines, cranes. Yeah.
Are there at least 5?
More.
Way more than 5? More like 10 or 20?
More.
Wow. It's a lot of them, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like 50 something.
I don't know if it's probably close. I don't know. It's
That's
about
crazy.
40 or so machines.
Do they all
40
have, what kind of prizes do they have them? They have like plush toys and
Yeah.
any video games and electronics and
no.
stuff?
They have some with
Funko Pops.
they have some with like Funko Pops and like other prizes in there.
Okay.
So tell us
Candy
some.
machine?
So it's $1. Yeah.
That's my
They had
favorite.
some. Do they have some with candy?
I like the candy cranes.
I can't remember. So it's about $1 a play. Okay. So when you go, if you give them $10, they'll give you 700 credits, and
Okay.
it's 70 credits per play.
70 cranes.
Okay.
70. And what else, guys? So you load it on a card. So
Okay.
in they're NFC cards. You know, so you tap them. Let's see. You have to pay $2 for the card, $3, $2 for the card, and then you just recharge it.
Is it loud?
Is it loud?
Noisy? Music playing? Nothing? It's not too bad?
Music.
You can trade like your plush and get a big plush because they have big plush like behind the counter.
Oh.
And so what were some of the prizes you guys liked?
I like the blue Charizard.
So you got a blue Charizard
And
from
Kirby.
Pokemon,
Hello
and a Kirby, and a Hello Kitty,
And Stitch.
and Stitch from Lilo and Stitch,
And a Snoopy.
and a Snoopy. So they have a sign up. What does the sign say, Olivia?
Mm, if you're having trouble getting like something from the claw machine, you can ask an employee to move it around so you can get it.
So me and Alex, when we went, we spent $9 and we didn't get anything.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens when you ask them, Olivia? What happens?
They move it like to the like it's like right above like.
They stack up all of the plush right
Huh.
next to the entrance,
Yeah.
right next to the exits, like the
Okay.
little portal. And then basically they make it super simple for you to win, right?
Yeah.
If you, and all you have to do is ask, and they'll do it. So
Oh, that's neat.
and they'll like if there's more than one type in there. Go ahead.
And remember when our last credit?
Yeah, we won something on our last credit, didn't we? Yeah. So like, what happened with the blue Charizard? Like, how'd you get that? Where'd they put it? Did they ask you which one you wanted? There were orange Charizards and blue Charizards.
Okay.
And you told the lady which one you wanted. You said you wanted the blue, right? And so she put the blue like right, basically looking over the edge of the opening. And all Alex had to do was hit his card, hit the crane just a little bit, and knocked it right over the side.
Oh, nice.
So they
That's
want you to
neat.
win.
Yeah,
which is
so
something I appreciate.
Everybody goes home a winner.
Exactly. You always go home as long as you ask, and they have to sign up for a reason. You go home a winner. Now we spent when me and Alex went, I think we spent $20 in there about, and we got 2 toys. I mean, I felt like obviously it was a little overpriced for what the plush was, but I
Right.
still felt like we got our money's worth.
And you had fun.
Exactly, we had fun. So, and it's a franchise. I think I told you, Tim. It takes $180,000. I think is what the investment
Yeah.
was. Is that what I told you? $180,000 to franchise Kawaii Cranes, and I don't know what else is included in that investment. But the location here and the locations in California, they all look the same. And basically, it's about 40 cranes and 2 recharge stations, and then like
I'm gonna have to
stuff.
go.
Yeah.
Do they have concessions or anything, or it's just the crane machines?
Cranes.
They have
Just
drinks
the cranes.
or nothing.
Just
Okay.
the cranes. So they had a stacker,
Yeah.
and they had like a cut the rope one, like where you cut it and you get the big prize. And then everything else was claws. Everything else was claw machines, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about? You guys are dying to come on here, like you're literally knocking on the door trying to get in.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. Who's Pumpkin?
Kitty cat.
Yeah, we have a kitty cat named Pumpkin. We just got her in October of last year, right?
Oh.
So she is. How old is she now?
A few months.
Yeah, a few months. So she's gone from kitten to cat pretty quick, though. They grow fast. So Pumpkin is our kitty cat. Anything else you guys want to talk about? What do your YouTubers talk about that you watch?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do. What do they talk about?
Minecraft.
Minecraft? Yeah, they
Minecraft.
do talk about Minecraft. Do you guys like Minecraft?
Yeah.
What do you like to build in Minecraft?
Houses.
Houses? Anything else?
Mine diamonds.
Okay, diamonds, yeah.
And then we can go to just survival and just mine it.
Do you guys want to go see the Minecraft movie?
Yeah!
Okay, yeah, so Minecraft movie's on the list.
On my birthday.
It comes out on my birthday, that's right. So,
On your birthday?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Like on the day.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see. Let's see.
That's coming pretty soon.
Yeah, what else? Anything else you got? Okay, you like, what else do you like? Roblox?
Yeah.
What games do you like on Roblox? I know you play Dress to Impress. I've seen you. What else? What games do you like?
Brookhaven.
Brookhaven. So we have them locked down, like parental settings wise,
Mm-hmm.
to where you guys can't chat, right?
Yeah.
No chats. So things like that. What else? Is that it? Are we done for the night?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we gotta wrap this thing up. Mr. Tim's gotta go home. So say whatever you want. What else do you want to talk about?
Garfield.
What about Garfield?
I got the good life.
okay. We can't. No singing. I don't want to have to play copyrights. Okay. So, anything else?
I'm out of here.
Okay. Thanks for being on the show, kids. Very entertaining as always.
See ya.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you in a minute. Dying to be on the show.
Yeah.
I don't say anything.
Stage fright, right?
That's right.
Where's Pumpkin?
I don't know. She's not in here, though. I haven't seen her. Okay. Well, I think on that note, you need to go. Close the door, please. So, thanks for being here, everybody. If you have any other notes for us, again, you can email us at questions@arcaderepairtips.com. We're going to be, next month, we have 4 weeks till the next episode in March, and that's going to be Tim's birthday episode.
Ah,
So,
it is
because
coming
that's
up.
usually when
Don't
we do it. In
remind
fact,
me.
it's going to be after your birthday, I think.
a little bit, yeah. My
Yeah.
birthday is on like a Sunday.
Right, exactly. I was about to say, I looked it up, and I was like, oh, look at that. There's something after your birthday.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes it is, but we'll still celebrate on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. Golly. So, yes.
Can I get a gumball?
Sure. I have a gumball machine in the game room, so he's gonna get a gumball out of it. So I did show you the arcade 1-up claw machine, which I got
Yes.
for Christmas, which I mentioned. What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would love to have that when I was a kid. That would have been fun to
kids,
play.
the kids really like it. They want me to get some plush. I better hurry up before those tariffs hit. Maybe. But I need to buy like a big bag of it or something.
Hurry up and do it.
Hurry up and do it, huh? Okay, well, we need to get some good plush. Right now we're putting like old plush in there that we just have lying around. But, my poor wife, like I said, she worked really hard to get it working because I had a lot of problems. Okay, guys. And so I was not feeling well on Christmas, and so I ended up, she basically assembled it and got it working and had to email Arcade 1-Up and get it working and everything. So it was rough, but she did it. So it is, to be honest with you, it's been good so far ever since she's got it all fixed from them, and, we like playing it.
Pretty impressive.
You like playing it? Yeah. So there we go. Okay, we're going to say bye. Okay, is there anything you want to say before we go? No, just going to chew your gum? Don't swallow it.
All right.
Okay.
I almost swallowed it.
Who's your favorite wrestler? You don't know? Okay.
Oh, I guess he's not good.
There we go. There's the key.
Oh, we got it. That's a pretty kitty. Hello.
There she is.
She's
This is
in my
Pumpkin.
show.
There we go. Okay, we're saying goodnight, kids. So you guys say goodnight.
Good night.
Okay,
Bye,
and we'll see you
everybody.
guys next month. Take care. March show's coming up. We'll celebrate Tim's birthday. Hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. And if you have anything in the meantime, again, questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Everybody have a good night. See you
Bye.
soon. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Pumpkin. Oh, wow. This gumball's good.